And we should be going live shortly. There's always a bit of lag. There we go. And we are live. Excellent.
Already muted. Awesome.
So that was, we couldn't get anyone else on, but that was a very interesting show. We went way more into sociology than I would really have cared. So
yeah, we've been over top of that, considering what the show was meant to be about.
Yeah.
I don't know how the discussions of sociology actually helps in terms of talking about I can't even remember what the show was about now.
Being an ally and other trans issues. I mean, we were roughly, like, we were kind of like.
Oh, am I a bit quiet? Sorry, I'm probably a bit far from my mic at the moment.
No. You're good. You were good before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's just the chat saying I'm a bit soft. So.
Oh, well then get. I can hear you really well, so maybe if I turn this down, and
there might be maybe yes thing.
I do have my own. Say something.
Yep. Is that any better, chat?
I'll just turn you up a bit there.
Can you guys hear me all right now?
Well, I turned you up, and you're almost as loud as me.
Okay, yeah, they say it's better.
All right. Hey.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, the sociology, it does have a part in it, but I think people who adhere to a lot of sociology like take it way too far. Like Helen was basically saying that, you know, gender is basically only learned, and was refusing to look at comparisons between humans and other animals, which is, you know,
I
that's
think I actually might have a bit of her theist bent behind that as well. A bit like Christians have, you know, that we're the better.
I don't
know where her thoughts are on evolution and everything goes, but I think she might have that little bit of a bent there. So,
like, are you familiar with Ocean? Ocean and Keltoy, yeah. So she's got similar to beliefs to him, and Ocean accepts evolution and everything like that.
Okay, so I don't see what her problem is then. Does she think we're entirely different to the rest of the animal species, or?
That's kind of what she was basically
saying. It was what she was suggesting, and it just doesn't make any sense. So we're animals, we are the same. There is definitely cases in nature of homosexuality and cross-gender behaviors. Yep. So you can't ask an animal if they're transsexual or transgender, but you can see the cross-sexual behaviors. So it's obviously a natural thing.
And intersex definitely occurs within other animals.
And intersex definitely occurs. So there's no reason to think that there's literally no reason to think that being transgender is purely socially based.
Exactly. And David Reimer, it would definitely prove that. So yeah, that's
okay.
That's just where I'm going. That's what I.
Thank you, Pagan Dragon, for that clarification there. That Callan accepts evolution and knows she doesn't think that we are totally different from other animals.
She just doesn't want to talk about other animals.
She just didn't want to talk about other animals, so that's fine.
Yeah, and she tried to bring up animals that aren't mammals as well, right? I was specifically speaking of.
And I'm sorry, Pagan Dragon, mammals. I have no idea how to pronounce your name.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know that either. Her point is that you can't get gender from animals, only sex. Prove it.
Yeah, that would be my statement to that, is prove it. I mean, definitely there are gender roles within the animal kingdom. Mm-hmm. We can observe that. So, yeah,
we can observe similar natural behavior between.
You can see the variant behaviors between the genders.
Exactly. And some of this, some of how I view this is coming from, like, my own experiences, right? Like
Yeah,
if
same.
like my parents split when I was like 8, right? So um and I was never really, all the stereotypes you hear that boys are raised to be like this, girls are raised to be like that. I was never raised to be like this or that. I was just like this or that. And throughout a lot of my younger years, I was more or less what you would expect from any normal person who was, uh, I'll use the technical ones and say assigned male at birth. Like, and even though that kind of changed a little bit later on in my life, nobody, like, people were absolutely like shocked that I'm trans when I come out last September. Like, no one would have ever expected it. But like, I was never raised as a male. I was never boy. I was never raised as a girl. I was just raised and let do my own thing. So you would expect that I would more be agender than both genders in that case. Because
Things.
I sorry,
Sorry.
that's right.
I'm trying to keep track of what's happening in the chat as well, and
Oh
with what
yeah,
Kadama has written about gender roles being instinctual. Yes, I that's my personal feeling on it. A lot of gender role is instinctual. Yes, there are certainly social aspects to our gender
yeah,
roles, which are governed by the society we live in, as can be seen by different traits around the world. But a lot of those traits are still the same, even in societies that have grown up very different.
exactly.
So
Even
there is
even in
obviously
isolated tribes.
there's obviously an instinctual role to that as well.
Yeah,
And to say that gender is completely separate from that instinctual genetic aspect, I think is wrong.
yeah. I say it. I said it. And I'll say it again. As like from how I can
I didn't
understand
say
it.
purely pagan dragon, but I don't think you can I don't think you can shift the.
Pagan
You
Dragon is
can't say
arguing with
that they are
Kadama.
purely learned. They are definitely instinctual as well
Yeah,
as genetically driven.
yeah.
Gender is very broadly influenced by all these factors.
And that's my position too. I say it like this. Things like there are a lot of things that are I like to use the term instinctually driven because I suck at language. I don't have another word. So like things like gender identity. Gender identity is biochemical in nature,
Yeah.
and like there's a lot of good theories. There's also a lot of theories that show it through neurology. And then there are some gender roles and some basic gender expressions that are also like instinctual, but like gender influences society, and then in society influence gender expression. It creates artificial, or not necessarily artificial, but new gender roles. It creates uh it redefines it defines new genders that are not
Oh, sorry,
necessarily
just want to
binary. um
just to respond to pagan there. Sorry, May.
that's
The
okay.
Yeah, if you take the aspect, if you try to look at the thing that gender roles are just from a learning example, then you wouldn't have a case like David Raymer. He would have been had the operation as an infant, grown up, socialized as a woman, and stayed a woman. You wouldn't have trans people if you actually took that as that situation. The
Exactly, or
fact
you
is,
would have more trans people.
a lot of us are socialized in the gender that we were assigned at birth, and we rebel against that. We say that's not us.
Yeah, exactly. Are not so much in. So there are some instinctual gender roles, pagan dragon, and then there are a lot of not instinctual gender roles. Like I said, this is why I brought up lions, because lions are a great example. So the male lions have nothing to do with rearing the children, but they do have everything to do with, well, actually they're solitary. They don't really get food for the pride or anything, but the females rear all the children, while humans aren't. It, while humans do while both parents do take while parents of humans do take roles in rearing our young, uh, there are very different roles in that. Now, the thing that makes like mothers are more nurturing, they're more caring, and fathers are more technical and stuff like that. Um, I'm really terrible with parental roles because I have no interest in being a parent. But there are other people who could explain this a lot and have explained it to me a lot better than I'm explaining it. Um, so I'm just parroting information that I've been given. Now, the the thing is that we can go and see these roles in other primates.
Oh, very definitely.
Yeah. So we can look at chimpanzees and we can see similar gender roles. Another thing is that because us humans are exceptionally intelligent, that really is what makes us able to create new gender roles through our society and create and just be as entirely diverse as we are, because we can actually understand this shit about ourselves, and we don't need social constructs to do it. I would still know that I would not have the same language. I would not have the language to express it. But if I was, thrown in the woods as a baby and somehow survived, I would still know that I am, basically bigender. So
yeah, I think our self-identity is innate.
Yeah,
we are while we certainly have some learnt traits.
We have a lot of learned traits.
Yeah, we have a lot of learnt traits. Our identity is innate to us. It's not just something that's cast upon us by society. We're not growing into it per se.
Exactly. I actually know a lot more about computers than biology, so I'm going to use an analogy here. Is that we do not come with everything uninstalled. We come with an operating system installed, and then we put a bunch of garbage in our heads afterwards. But we still come with the operating system.
Yeah.
That's basically an easy way to put it. I mean, tabula rasa is not a thing, and that's where you just start as a blank slate, and literally everything is basically learned behavior, and that there is nothing instinctual. So
I think it's fairly arrogant of us as a species to think that we are more learned behavior and less instinctual. We are like every other animal. We have a huge amount of instinct that drives who we are.
And other animals have a lot of learned behavior as well. Animals have to teach their young how to hunt and how to survive and all of that. But they're still operating on a they're still operating on a basic instinct. And actually, Kellen kind of proved my point for me by bringing up animals that are in a different I'm sorry, Arn.
Clade?
Yeah. So Kellen pointed out how alligators will be cannibals, are more likely to be cannibals. I don't actually know if that's true or not. But
it can be, but lots of animals can do that. Result to cannibalism.
Like a lot of reptiles don't even rear their young; they just lay eggs, hatch them, and then fuck off. or some of them just lay eggs and then fuck off back into the water for like sea turtles and stuff like that, right?
There's been lots of things with
no
chimps where they've shown cross-sexual behavior.
Chimps and bonobos,
which you'd actually consider to be more trans in nature than you would gay. So, where they will actually adopt the position within the group that would be traditionally female or male, as in a cross-gender role. So it's definitely a thing that's observed in nature. It's not observed often, but then again, there's we are a smaller percentage of the population of the
We're
human
two.
species. So
We're probably two. I usually use two split evenly between the sexes. Now, the pagan dragon here asked me like how I would know anything about this. I wouldn't be able to communicate this information to you, but you know, I would still want to, even though you know I'm not entirely a woman, I would still want to raise. Well, I would more want to raise a child in the way of both. One of the reasons I have a hard time talking about gender roles is that I'm kind of give me all the gender. So like I would do the whole package, whereas I know a few mothers who would like really just be kind and nurturing, but would leave it up to, or who have left it up to you know, a child's father to teach the child how to read, and wanted nothing to do with that for some reason, right? And then there is, you know, there's like breastfeeding and stuff like that. So there's the biological aspect, but that still goes more into the nurturing and protective roles. I'm not like I said, there are people who could explain these to you a lot better than I can. This is not necessarily my wheelhouse, but I am getting this information from other areas. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. I wouldn't be able, like I said, I wouldn't be able to explain to you that I have the traits of multiple genders, but I would still have the traits. I would still act in a lot of the same basic ways that I am now. Um, so, and of course, I would still want, you know, um, even though I wouldn't understand it nearly as well, I would still want to basically transition in the way that I currently want to transition. Um, and since that is related to gender, we would definitely be able to do that. And we're going to get a guest.
woo, are we having oopsie? Are we?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Nupsy. Nice. So yeah, that's what I'm saying on that. Now, Scott had actually asked a Scott has actually asked a few questions, and she actually came out as trans to us on one of Katie's streams, I believe, on Without a Crystal Ball. So Scott actually asked a couple of good questions. He or she, sorry, she says that she was going to say that almost sounds like an intersex type thing. Intersex is about the physical body, like it's part of sex, not part of gender. Um, so it is kind of similar to some intersex conditions in that I would very much like to be both, but it's like
If you want to join
I
us, because I
wasn't born
imagine
that way.
we'll send out a link to people if they want to join us in the chat.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely do that. It'll mess up our overlay, but whatever.
We don't care. It's an after show.
Yeah, it's an impromptu after show that I forgot we were doing and I didn't prepare for. Oh, okay, more okay, never mind. Um, yeah, I misunderstood the question. But either way, Scott did ask a question during the non-sec, and I didn't really have the ability to concentrate enough to answer it. And that was about how. Could you ask that question again, please, Scott?
It's not Scott, is it? Did say at the beginning. Scarlett.
Did she?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
Scarlett. Oh, I'm sorry, Scarlett.
Scarlett.
I did not see that at all. I apologize. Um, I was just thinking that you can change your name on the. I'm sorry, Scarlett. Okay, more of an explanation of bigender and transgender at the same time. Um, so yeah, like um, I don't even like using the term. I don't even like saying I identify as, because I really don't. I would say that my gender aligns with both male and female. Um, and that means that, at least in part, my gender is not what I was assigned at birth, which makes me transgender. It's partially what I was assigned at birth, but it's not entirely what I was assigned at birth. And of course, I am on feminizing hormones. I'm taking estrogen and cypretone as a testosterone blocker for the time being. And actually, I drink a lot of mint tea, which is a natural anti-androgen, so that's boosting that. So, um, yeah, basically, I was not born. The sex I was assigned at birth is not by gender, so that basically means I'm trans, because I do identify. I hate that term. I do identify as partially as a woman, and in fact more as a woman than as a man. You know, the easy way to say it is that it's like 60-40. So I am. So
But you like
that's how I'm
Selma.
trans. Eh? Yeah. 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 Uh, I like the parts I was born with, so I don't have. So I'm not in any hurry to get rid of them. um. Okay. You see, I consider myself very not gender neutral. I consider myself the opposite of gender neutral. Um. I actually
I'm
this
definitely not gender neutral. I'm definitely
yeah
100%.
I'm as far away from being agender as you can possibly get. Literally the exact opposite. um so yeah, like I don't like being called any gender neutral pronouns. Not they them, not they them, not the not like any other neo pronouns. I dislike those pronouns more than I dislike male pronouns, to be honest. I would rather get called, he or him, than they or them, just because he him does represent me, just not as much as she her, and they them doesn't represent a thing about me, and I would like my pronouns to actually represent or describe me, and that's my take on it, and just they them doesn't, or z zer, or any of the other ones.
I find those ones really hard. They
um
them is right because it's part of normal language for me, but Z and Zer I find really hard.
just I don't like
Sorry,
those for me.
sorry to all the non-binary people out there. I just find them really difficult.
I'm less of a fan of they them, but whatever, I don't care. um
I mean, yeah,
I'm
I will always try and use your pronouns because it would be hypocritical of me not to. But
exactly, like I couldn't ask
it
people
doesn't.
to.
I find it easy.
Yeah. If I was raised completely in isolation, would I think I still have multiple genders? Yes, I probably would. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to understand it, but my basic actions would still be the same. Like I never learned male or female gender roles at
Are
all.
we going to give out some links to people?
Yeah, just
Um,
if you want, just ask. But
yeah, hit us up on
on
probably
Twitter,
best if you hit my app on Twitter and she can shoot you through the link.
yeah, just DM me.
If you don't have Twitter, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, but yeah, like I was my parents essentially like just let
It's
me do my own thing.
our Twitters are in the doobly doo.
Yeah, they're in the download box.
The doobly doo. Come on.
Yeah, just um yeah, me, I guess.
Oh, we're using
But
Zoom.
yeah, I really didn't want to so much get into that. I just wanted to get it out of the way at first, but it seems to be a hot topic.
Yeah.
uh Scarlett, we're using Zoom, so that it's a pretty good thing. So yeah, one thing that I'm definitely going to ask. Oh, hey,
Oopsie. Woo!
hi. You know what? I'm just going to do this. How do I do that?
I don't know.
Here we
I don't
go.
know what you're doing
And hide that. And we're
now. Are you on your
going
phone,
to.
Oopsie?
I'm just going to make some changes here. No, I don't want
Thanks,
that.
Wellington. That was there
Hey,
for
Filters.
Shannon's
No.
benefit because she didn't notice it in the last podcast.
There we go. Oh,
I told her I'm going to try and sneak some sort of pop culture reference into the background and everything.
yeah.
And it's her job to find them.
Okay, and then I'm going to turn my video back on here.
I'm still trying to figure this out. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Okay, I can't turn my video back on. Oh well. So I'm going to try to get my video started.
So Pagan sent you a DM.
Oh, okay. Get rid of that. Let's see if it works now. No.
No. You're invisible.
I'm invisible. Oh well. Like people are not missing much. And I need to set up my desk. Class, okay. Oh, okay.
Do we want another dumpster fire? We can always invite Steve.
All right, so we're gonna get Scarlet. We've got Upsy.
How do we send a DM on YouTube?
Oh, and we got our trans guy for our Sunday show, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully so.
So that's great. All right, I wanted to make this about other stuff, but here we go.
Let's invite Steve. Love picking on him. I don't even know if Steve's still up.
McRae?
Yeah, he probably is. He's always up.
Yeah, that guy doesn't sleep. All right, now I need to make sure that
just end up us arguing with Steve if we invite him.
probably. One thing I want to talk
about all of us just to piss us off.
Yeah, one thing I kind of want to talk about now is like the whole thing about how pedantic and overly concerned with definitions the LGBT community can be can be. Like going after people for spelling trans woman wrong is just like why.
Yeah, I can understand it if you know the person's a TERF and they're deliberately doing it to try and marginalize us.
Yeah, it's
Then
not
I
even
get
that.
it.
It's not even
But
that.
if it's somebody going after Shannon over it, just really pisses me off because she didn't
Shannon's
mean
awesome,
anything by it.
and it's
She's
not.
obviously an ally. Why? Why? And you just made her feel bad over something she didn't need to feel bad over.
I know.
Yeah, they tend to do that a lot, and it's pushing people away rather than pulling people in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's really disturbing.
Well, it's the same. Like people will go after other trans women for it too, right? So like we have like people have gone after other trans women using transsexual. People have gone after just horribly vitriolic things over definitions, right? Like people are trying to say that transsexual isn't a valid term when it's commonly used in the when it's not commonly used in, or when it's still very commonly used in the medical terminology, and it means a specific thing.
Yeah, the vid isn't switching to May because she's hosting. So she should actually be appearing on the broadcast, but she's not in our chat.
Yeah, you can hear me, but you won't be able to see me. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just how I have OBS set up. I was using my webcam, and then when I try to turn my camera on in Zoom, it won't let me, even though I got rid of my camera. So yeah, you're not going to see my
Your mug.
if you-
So they all have to stare at me because nobody else has got any video yet.
yeah. Well, I need to shave anyways, and
I am the center of attention after all.
yeah.
And the reason nobody will be able to see me is because I run off from 4G internet. So that's lovely.
Yeah.
I
just
But
don't
it's
have a
great to have
webcam.
you.
I'm actually excited that I was able to get on because I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to pull it off.
Well, we're always happy to have you. You're great.
Yeah, you know we love you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love you guys too. So
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, like, there's the whole thing with pansexual too. It's like it's the entire argument bi must mean too, and it's the same as the fucking atheist slash agnostic debate where people will go and say, but
No,
A must
don't
always
start
mean
that.
without.
We'll have Steven here.
No, I mean, I'm just
No.
using it as an example. Hey,
Hi.
hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's Scarlett. Hi.
hey there.
Hey,
Hi, Scarlett.
Hello.
how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing just trying to still wrap my head around what all that whole argument on NonSeq was. Just
It's the one I warned Shannon that we'd end up having.
Yeah, it wasn't
It-
quite the
It
one,
did
but
kind of go off topic there
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Well, I mean,
told
Like
Shannon-
even I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I knew what you guys were trying to go after.
well,
It's
here's the
when I
thing: we
watched
all,
it down, I didn't see the point in it. It was totally off topic and pointless
Yeah.
to what we were trying to do.
and I actually said that a few times, but once the dumpster fire starts raging, it's gonna go
Can't
until it
stop
dies
it.
out.
Well, it kind of worked against what you guys were originally trying to put the video about because
yeah,
I completely lost topic myself listening
Yeah.
in, and I knew what you guys were trying to do. So
Yeah, I
there
was trying to
that
get
too.
out of that, but yeah, like, yeah, I tried.
I
to,
gave up. In all honesty, I don't think Callum wanted to get out of it.
No,
Yeah.
Callan definitely did not want to.
Wanted dwell in on it, and it wasn't what it was meant to be about. And not that I have anything against Callum, but she needed to step back from that bit of it because it wasn't relevant to the discussion.
Well, she wouldn't even
Yeah.
let anyone speak.
No,
Oh no, definitely not.
no, I started interrupting, and if I start interrupting like that, you've gone too long.
And I shut up. And when do I ever shut up?
Yeah, really.
I mean, May gets vocal and I shut up. I mean, what the hell's happening to the world?
So I don't mean like Wellington in the chat says that they're pan, but is fine with people using bi. But like what I'm talking about is like when I first started joining LGBT like message boards and stuff a little over a year ago, maybe a lot more over a year ago, like people were attacking me for being for using the label bi, because I would say that they would say that, well, you don't accept non-binary people or trans people, or you wouldn't date or sleep with non-binary people or trans people. And I'm like, bitch, I am non-binary and I am trans, and I would date another non-binary or trans person.
Did
Well,
you
I
see
use the
Kenma's
same
link?
term, so that's actually kind of an
Hey,
unfair accusation, really.
Eh?
did you see Kenma's Twitter link?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
You sent her a
Did I send who? Sorry.
Kedma.
Oh.
She
Did
posted her
she-
Twitter.
I am not
Sorry if I'm
necessarily.
misgendering Kedma. Kedma.
Right, accept. And I'm not necessarily looking at my Twitter or necessarily the chat.
No, that's why I told you.
I have a lot of stuff going on. And I need to rearrange my desk because my phone is charging right in front of where
Kodama.
my
Okay. Kodama.
yeah.
I
So,
like
yeah.
the TARDIS, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I'm like the only person who doesn't like Doctor Who.
Shun.
I mean Doctor Deus Ex Machina.
Oh, the battery's flat. Oh. It's storage. It's meant to be for pencils, I think, but and if you push the top, it makes a TARDIS sound, except the battery must be flat.
Oh well.
Which
We
means
miss
I better
out.
change
Oh,
it
dear.
before it leaks.
But you
Yeah.
see, when they leak, they taste the best.
Oh,
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Testing?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, like like okay, so back to the whole pan thing. Like whether you use pansexual or bisexual or whatever you want, like how you describe your gender, or not gender. I'm getting a little tired. I've been up since 5 a.m. pretty much, and it's 11:46. Anyways, how you describe your sexuality or gender, and what labels you attach to it are entirely up to you. People who are in this will hear me talking about how I'm bisexual, but everyone will know that my Twitter name is Megay the Gayest Spear Lesbian. Because I am, at least currently, almost exclusively interested in women. There's only actually one guy that I have any interest in right now. And well, okay, I'm in Toronto. I'm near Toronto, Ontario, and he's in North Carolina. And probably not necessarily interested in even spear woman. um, so anyways, so like, there's not really much point because I've basically gone, functionally, my sexuality is probably the same as Mr. Atheist's, except for I use the term bisexual instead of pansexual, but I am definitely gyno-romantic right now. But that's a pendulum that kind of swings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just how you identify yourself for that, and what label you're comfortable using.
I tend to use different labels on different conversations. When I'm with someone that's in the GRSM community, I will use pansexual because it best describes that. But when I'm not, I'm using bisexual because it's just shorthand.
Yeah, like I felt like I've used literally all of the main sexualities. But I used pansexual for a month, but only because I felt coerced for it. And it's like I don't like this, I feel like I'm being forced into using this label that I don't want to use. And you have to remember that I'm 34 and I've basically been calling myself bisexual since I was 9, so I'm not changing my label after 25 years of
And the same goes
I
with
do the
me.
same thing with transgender and transsexual because for me it was transsexual, it wasn't transgender. So
yeah. Well,
A lot of the terms have changed, and I kind of think it gets a little bit troublesome when people are trying to force you to say something is your sexuality when that's not what you feel you identify as. You can do that to yourself, but people need to really stop doing this to each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, and I explain my sexuality entirely different from how someone will tell me that bisexual is supposed to be. I actually don't use 2 or more genders or anything like that. I say both sexes.
May, given the way that you're defining your sexuality kind of on the way that you're looking at your relationship at the moment, does that mean that because I don't have a relationship, I'm non-sexual?
Well, I'm not really in any relationship.
Yeah, but I don't even have prospects of one at the moment.
No. I like that's my reasoning for using lesbian, right? That's
yeah,
that's
no,
why
I get you. I was just being pedantic.
yeah.
Well, I'm lucky enough to be in 2 relationships, so.
Well, lucky you. I
Well,
have
it's one relationship, but with 2 people, so.
Oh, I was in one of those once. It was great.
Yeah, I have full
I've
trial.
had a threesome though.
I was in one of those for a few months. It was great.
What, a
then, no, a 3-way relationship, and at the time, 2 of us were bisexual men. So,
Well, I call it romantic communism.
romantic communism.
It's
I call
our
it.
relationship.
I call it.
I'd like to point out if you have a threesome and you're the only girl in the threesome, it's a lot of fucking work.
Well, I'm versatile, so maybe not.
I kind of feel bad for our boyfriend. He really gets it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's completely got off topic. You see, I want to have this conversation with Kyle.
Yeah, I know exactly.
This is the conversation I want to have with Kyle on our show, okay?
Yeah.
Just,
But he's probably never had a threesome.
probably not.
Oh, I'm sure Kyle has.
Yeah, actually, I think he probably has.
Like, really? Kyle? I mean, have you not seen Kyle? I mean, especially recently. I'm sure he's probably had at least one.
Well,
Several at the same time.
Kyle might be the only guy that might be one of the few guys that I've only ever been actually attracted to like that. Like, I just don't want to fuck him. I want to date him, but yeah.
Really? I honestly, I could see Kyle as a brother figure, not as a romantic figure. Or there's just,
I can see Kyle as my UK.
yeah, but it could also just be because I'm older. See, if I was going to have if anybody who you're talking about who's recently been on the Non-Seq Aftershow who I could see myself having a romantic relationship with, it'd be Aaron.
Well,
don't tell him I said that.
Well, Kyle's roughly my age.
I'm just saying, because I mean, knowing my history with men, Aaron is my type.
Okay.
That's all.
Well, Kyle's kind of my type.
No, I'm not saying I would have a relationship with Aaron.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I totally would have a relationship with Kyle. Yeah.
Now we're gonna have to bedwet and dead it. Kyle, Aaron, or Mr. Atheist?
What was the question?
Who would you sleep with, kill, or marry? Kyle, Aaron, or Jimmy?
Oh, sleep, kill, and marry. Oh,
Sleep-
Marry, fuck, kill.
I'm sorry,
That's
Jenny,
not
but
fair.
I'm gonna marry Kyle. I'm gonna marry Kyle. I'm gonna sleep with kill Aaron. Jenny.
I think I'd rather marry Aaron, sleep with Jimmy, and kill Kyle. Sorry, Kyle.
I would marry Kyle. I would sleep with Aaron, and well, sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah, my first husband was basically like a big biker, so yeah. And my brother looks like it. Not that I'm sexually attracted to my brother, but my brother looks like a big biker. So yeah, that's yeah. I'm sure Freud would have a wonderful time in my head.
This
In
is
your
actually one
head.
of those quizzes I can't do anything about because I'm actually more sexually attracted to women than I am men. So I
Well, me
feel a little
too.
out of place here.
Sorry.
No. Me too. definitely more attracted to women than
But you
men.
can ask. Well, you can ask the question of women too, because
No, if it's like having a friendship. Now, if it's like more for having a friendship with someone, like one of those three guys, yeah, I would totally go for it. But dating them, they're not my type.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
See, for me, I mean, having dated both and been married on both sides, but I would much rather date and be in a relationship with a guy. But from a sexual perspective, I could do either. But I mean, that would entirely depend on the person too, because I can totally see myself as being in a relationship with another woman, but it depends on the person entirely.
Yeah. Well, it always depends on the person, right?
Not that I can see myself in a relationship at the moment at all. So,
Did that question kill the dragon?
I don't know.
No, they just had to
get going. Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, we've kind of moved away from what they were here.
The
to talk
original
about.
topic. That doesn't
And
matter.
I didn't really want to go on about that too much, anyways.
Because I think that topic was done to death during the show.
Yeah.
And
I just wanted to comment
I
on
don't
it
know
a
that
little
was
bit.
particularly helpful.
I think it just needs to be described better. May, you did a great job. You just got to figure out how to say it more concisely.
Yeah, well, I'm really tired, and I'm much better in I am much better in text than I am speaking because
Same.
I kind of say things slowly. So if I have like 5 minutes to write a chat or to write like a tweet or a reply or something, that's great. If I'm doing it verbally, it doesn't work so well.
Yeah, in answer to your statement there, yeah, I do tend to like the big biker dudes. I have this thing for beards. I love them. I love running my fingers through them and all that. And yeah, I
Definitely not.
I'd never have a tattoo myself. I quite like tattoos on guys.
I hate tattoos.
I don't like smokers though. They can fuck off.
That's something we can agree
But I'm
on.
allergic to the smoke, so it plays up my asthma. So
my parents were both chain smokers, and I think that their chain smoking caused me a lot of respiratory troubles when I was younger.
the original discussion was about trans allyship and how the cis community could perhaps do better.
Yeah, we could talk about that a little. Like, I did not have any problems with any of what people were saying. I think that Kellen puts a little bit too much emphasis on bias, and wants to use it as a universal explanation for everything. when it ignores a lot of what's going on. For example, well, I won't actually get into that. Anyways, so yeah, like, but like, just be always, I think that Sarah said it right, and just like always being on our side.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah, that
supporting
doesn't mean
us,
you
always
can't
being on our
make
side.
mistakes.
No.
It's about standing up for us where you see the opportunity to stand up for us.
No.
Especially if we're in a position where we can't stand up for ourselves.
Yep.
And just generally trying to be a good person. And you're not being a non-ally by saying something that might be a little bit offensive, or by maybe holding a different opinion on something to us. Where you're being a non-ally is if you're weaponizing that, or if you're doing that over and over again without having to listen to our concerns about it. So if you're just going to blindly go down a road of your own personal ideas, which is perfectly fine because we're humans and we do that, but then not listen to us about where the altering view comes from, then you're not being an ally anymore.
Yep, and not even.
That was the point that we were trying to put across. That generally speaking, if you're out there helping us and defending us, you're being an ally. And you, as an ally, you will make mistakes and you'll say the wrong things. Hell, we do it all the time because we don't all agree.
No,
even if we go back to the thing that started all this, which was the sport, not all trans people agree on the situation in sports. I, for one, actually think that the current rules that the IOC put out there are actually a little bit too lax.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
That 10 nanomoles is too high, and even the fact to say 1 year is problematic for some sports, in that a lot of the changes that happen with hormones take longer than a year.
And I would agree there. But what we see is that it usually takes about 16 to 18 months before any levels that would be equal to the cis.
Yeah, so and that can push out to up to 3 years with some people. It's very independent on the person who's transitioning.
Yeah, it is.
So
like,
I honestly think 2 years should really be the baseline. 2 years on hormones.
Yeah, 2 years sounds good to me.
Maybe the 5 nanomole level
issue. I'm fine with the 10 nanomole issue. That would cover a lot of cis women who are far ahead than what they normally should be, who still need to be able to compete well.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know why cis women are being pushed on the same thing as trans women for that, because we have to do it, because technically, if you were a trans person who wanted to cheat, you could, and that's something that Rationality Rules wasn't incorrect in saying. I don't think it would happen because most of us really don't want to have to go down that way, but it's possible. It is certainly a possibility. So to push our limits just that little bit lower to make that a little bit harder, when that's what most trans women will want. We're going to want those nanomole levels around about the 2 or 3 mark.
Yeah. That is what the average trans.
Actually, having it lower for us is fine, but insisting that cis women have to be down there as well,
that's kind of.
I have a problem with that, because that's putting a line in the sand for them, which is ridiculous, especially when part of our argument of inclusion is that there are those women with those variances, and because of them having that variance, it does mean that we are within their competitive range.
So I want to actually explain where that's coming from. So the 5 nanomoles is coming from the fact that what's considered clinically normal for a cis woman is anything from between 0.3 to 4.7 nanomoles. So just round that up to 5 and you're good. Now for
but that's for a non-athletic cis woman.
So we had to compare the athletic stats, not the non-athletic.
And then for cis men, the range is basically anything above 10. Right? So they're looking at the
5 nanomoles is how much testosterone is still in the system.
So they're looking at how much they're So they're looking at the normal amounts. Now, I'm going to say that, especially if you're on cyprotone, I have no idea about spironolactone. I'm not on that. I don't want to be on that. I avoid it like the plague. Some people have no choice, especially if you're in the United States. I'm sorry. My heart's going out to you. That stuff is apparently really nasty and has been referred to as radioactive helmets.
Oh.
But
Well, I guess I was lucky because I was only on it for like 2.5 years.
yeah. So
Because then I had the source removed.
yeah, that's not happening over here. Actually, once I get everything done that I want, like once I get my body to where I want it, I'm going off of the Cypro, but I'm not getting any operations. Where I was going with that is it took me a month to go from 17.9 nanomoles a liter down to like 4.3. and my last one 2 months after that one was 3.9, and it's going to continue dropping. I haven't had a fifth blood test yet. So we're not in, like, we're gonna see where that is, but I'm probably going to be in the end going down to like the 0.5 to 1.5 range.
Yeah, once you reach that, it'll start to affect your body, and it takes time for it to affect your body.
Well,
That's why 2 years would be great.
I've already got, well, it took me 1 month to go from 17 to it took me 1 month to go from like 17 or 18 rather to rounding up 4. So it's not like rounding up 4.5. So it's not like you know, it's not like it's hard to get your testosterone under that. Now the thing is that cyproterone is an extremely potent anti-androgen, and actually some people are on 25, 50 to or even up to 100 milligrams of the stuff. I'm on 12.5 and it did that. If you're on upwards of 25 milligrams of cyproterone per day, your testosterone is going to be dead. And I am actually getting a lot of the. I'm 6 months in on the second for cyprotone, and I started estrogen on the 18th of January. So just they didn't want to start me on 2 medications at the same time, which makes sense. So it took like 3 months for me to start noticing changes, and now I would say that I've lost 15 to 20% of my lifting ability in the first 6 months, but it took like 4 months for any of my strength to go. And I did kind of have this thing where I had I had no hormones in my system for like 3 months. We can't figure it out, but my estrogen went from 128 to under 40.
Atheist switch in the chat. Normally I'd say it's perfectly fine just to use somebody's name if you're not sure of their gender pronouns. But be aware when you're doing it, try to be really careful how you do that, because it can come across actually worse than if you've misgendered them, if you're deliberately trying to avoid using pronouns.
Yeah, I would not like.
Yeah, there's been quite a few that have done that recently, to where they're just jumping on people who have kind of deviated to just using the name because they haven't quite adjusted to using pronouns yet.
Yeah, well, I think
so. It's a really complicated situation, and it
So,
differs for each person.
Yeah.
For some people, you may be better off just asking what they prefer as their pronouns, or copying that you might accidentally miss pronoun. and then be corrected. Most people are going to be fairly polite about it if it's the first off. Most people will just say, no, sorry, that's not my pronoun. This is it. They might get upset if you continually do it. And there's a good reason for that in that it's like invalidating our identities. Why are you doing it? Even if it's not intentional, if it's continually done, it can feel like like you're invalidating us. So yeah, it's just being careful with the language you use. Basically, if you're unsure, ask is always the best bet.
Yeah, like I try to use everyone's I do my best to use everyone's pronoun. I'm not perfect.
So do I. Yeah, I'm not perfect
Nobody's
either.
perfect. I've had to say that. Nobody, like I'm not perfect using always using people's pronouns. And nobody's perfect with me. I'm a little bit more willing to let go being misgendered for the most part. I'm really apathetic to pronouns. And
yeah, the normal way with pronouns is to just go, I'm sorry, what pronouns do you prefer?
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it.
So it's down to them. You don't say, oh, well, what do I call you? No, what pronouns would you prefer?
Yeah,
because
or
what
just what are your pronouns? Would be a good way of saying it. I mean,
especially online where you don't have any visual clues or anything. It's so easy if you're talking to somebody on Twitter to just quickly ask it and then you know.
Yeah, and
a lot of people on Twitter who have variant pronouns will actually put them in there.
Yeah, like
anyway, so you can look them up.
I haven't bothered putting my pronouns in my thing because it's kind of pointless. Like, obvious.
You describe yourself as a lesbian, so it kind of hints at she, her anyway.
Like it says that my thing is saying I'm a trans gamer girl, right? So I don't even think I mentioned being non-binary in that.
My profile doesn't even mention I'm trans, but it does say she. It says I'm a girl of variant upbringing. That's the term I like to use because it makes the, unless they're actually going to read through all the things I'm commenting about, it makes the TERFs maybe not concentrate on me too much.
Yeah, I would say that I've said that I'm a woman, just an unorthodox one.
Well, my profile says I'm a spirit, so
it shouldn't be offensive to It shouldn't be offensive to anybody if you ask them what their pronouns are.
No.
There are a few people who will take offense. They are the minority. And in all honesty, if they're going to take offense at you asking what pronouns they prefer, especially this day and age when there are so many pronouns, then I think they're the ones with the problem and not you. You're trying to do the right thing by asking them.
Yeah, and I actually know someone is gender fluid. Just I want atheist won't let you in the chat. I know someone who's gender fluid, and when I first met her, she used whatever she was at the day, like during that day. But she's in the unenviable position that she just wants to be a she. So she's kind of, regardless of whatever her gender is at the time, she's kind of just reverted to being she all the time. And now now that her HRT is really going, she's actually just kind of stabilized on. I can understand some things with gender fluid people. I just can't get the changing part.
Yeah, I don't get that. To my mind, I can understand non-binary very well because I can understand how you can sort of fit in between because gender identity is not a binary thing. It is a continuum. But I don't understand how you move around the continuum.
I don't know. I will present, not so much right now because I'm kind of getting all my, after 25 years of knowing my gender, I'm kind of getting all the femme out. Right after 25 years of not having any of it out. Like I never cross dress or anything, but like I'm happy to present, excuse me, as completely masked as I can. And it's like no different from like choosing a men's shirt, or I wear a lot of men's pants still. Like choosing these is no different to me than choosing between two women's shirts.
I still wear men's socks. Not because I can't wear women's socks, but because men's socks tend to be thicker and more and warmer.
Fair
I'm
enough.
kind of forced to still wear men's stuff because, well, I'm an EMT, therefore easier to get thick male pants than female pants. Plus, there's that issue of size.
I only wear women's clothes when I want to fuck somebody's head.
I've been oh wow, since March. I've been full time presenting however the fuck I want since March.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm going full
The
flannel.
other thing I often wear is men's sneakers because in Australia, I don't know if it's the same anywhere else, but the exact same pair of sneakers, if you buy it in the men's department, is $10 cheaper than the women.
It's not the same here, but I generally wear men's footwear because women's footwear stops at 11 or maybe 12, and I'm a 13, so.
Oh! Yeah, no, I don't have that problem. I can generally buy women's shoes that fit me. When I was playing netball, I always, I bought proper netball shoes, and of course, you don't buy them in men's. So I can buy them. I just don't because I'd rather save $10 when the only difference is, there's a little bit more pink on those shoes than there is on the men's ones. For that, I'm not paying $10 for a little bit of pink paint. I'm not paying the pink tax.
No, the shoes are a little bit are pretty much the same, but I also have
it's ridiculous. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous, and so I just refuse. I just go and buy whatever I want. Same with buying flip flops. I'll buy men's flip flops. I'll try to buy them so they look unisex, but I will buy them because they're cheaper.
I normally just wear unisex clothes, but if I am going to look for men's clothes, it's very hard to find them in my size. I'm not exactly the most manliest of intersex people on the planet.
Okay, like I have a hard time finding women's clothes that properly fit. Usually shirts aren't long enough.
I can barely find women's clothes, let alone men's clothes that fit me because my size is so unusual.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I can say I can barely even fit women's clothes is pretty sad.
Yeah.
I wear like an extra small.
I'll donate some body size if you need some. Can we do that? Can we do
but
I already have an agreement with him that I'll trade half of my ability to retain weight for half of his ability to lose weight.
I would gladly take it too.
I can see a future where the solution for trans people is brain transplants. And you get a trans man and a trans woman, you go, hey, you two swap bodies.
Yeah,
I still wouldn't like that.
So
I still wouldn't like that.
See, though, there would be an issue.
I can't wait to have my womb. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be freaking amazing.
I can finally be a true hermaphrodite. It's gonna be great.
I can see that reacting badly and good at the same time.
Well, actually, like I'm a huge, like I think regenerative medicine is the future for a lot of things. So, yeah, like we pretty much have the ability to grow entire reproductive tracts, in vitro and implant them. It's just that nobody wants to do this.
I just think it's unfair that I have woman's hips and a period, but no uterus. That is not okay.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to say there. Sorry.
Yeah, I can only partially thing with it because my level of intersex is really minor. So I got all the cramps that went with thinking I was going to get the period when I was a teenager. I still do occasionally, but never actually had to worry about bleeding.
Yeah, that's me too. I don't worry about bleeding at all, but I do have the cramps every month, every fucking month.
Yep. Same. Not so much now that I'm pushing 50, but when I was younger, yeah.
I'm starting to get some of the symptoms of that.
Sometimes I was in absolute agony and, hot water bottles and everything.
Oh yeah. I currently did not go out today because of it. I just did not go out.
So a lot of trans women actually get that. And I can explain it as whatever you got downstairs is not what's controlling your hormone cycle. It's actually the pituitary gland that's dumping a bunch of hormones into your system that tells what you got downstairs, how much to make and when. So like it's the pituitary gland that controls your period, and what you have downstairs tells your pituitary gland, how to function. So when someone like me goes on cross-sex hormones, like it's basically telling you, okay, we have to stop the daily cycle and start the monthly cycle now. And the monthly cycle is more powerful when it hits.
But you see, I had that before I transitioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had to transition. My body naturally did it. It naturally decided to go female. Just, I'm a boy my whole life, and next thing you know, puberty hits, I'm girl.
Yeah, I know a few people who can say that. I guess lots of them are in the chat. Or in the call.
Speaking of pronouns, though, I don't really matter whether or not you use male or female pronouns to me. But
okay.
I do like to make people who are real dicks use either master or mistress or Slanish.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm just too apathetic to pronouns to really care.
Same.
like people.
I care that I present pretty much totally female, so I generally don't have a problem with it. I probably would if I lived in the US or if I lived in the UK, because there's more of that prejudice there than there is here. I mean, Australia's pretty good as far as that goes.
Speaking of Australia, is your harness on tight? I don't want you to fall off.
Yeah.
I don't want you to fall off in the middle of this, hangout.
Oh, okay.
I should have turned my camera upside down. When we do our stream with Team Skeptic, I should so do that.
Yeah.
You need to. You absolutely need to.
I don't know. Our next stream
that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Our next stream is gonna be, and Bullion got us a trans guy who's interested in I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
And we'll have Oopsie for some of it.
Hopefully, if you can come on.
Wellington, it's not them falling off, it's them falling up that's the problem. Yeah. They'll go up into the sun. It's not going to be okay.
Yeah.
The wall's not going to stop that.
Right. According to a lot of flat earthers, Australia doesn't exist, so I'm not real. Hey, so they're denying my existence in the same way that TERFs and the religious right do.
Yep.
So
I can't get behind that. I know Australia is real. It's Canada that's not real.
Hey.
Canada is the North American coral reefs that produce noxious gases that are reflected by the sun to create the illusion of land and animals.
Okay, Danny,
there is no space, Wellington. There's only the firmament.
It must be all the maple syrup fumes, right?
Well, that's why they drink maple syrup. The gaseous humanoids living in Canada have to drink maple syrup in order to solidify themselves.
Oh yeah, and yeah, we totally have the poutine trees up here, and you get the syrup from inside the poutine trees, but you pick the poutine off the branches.
Well, think of it this way: if you turn on a fan with a Canadian in the other room, they just leave. They can't handle being in there.
I don't know about that. I have 7 fans in my room.
Sure.
You can
It's,
see them.
see, Canada is all a conspiracy. It gives Americans hope to believe they can have a better nation. And hope is what imprisons us all.
Well, our thing is that whatever.
Trudeau.
A sad thing about our country is that we set our standard to just as long as we're better than the US.
That's
It's
not
okay.
hard.
Yeah, really not hard at all.
Yeah, it's entirely
No.
to give us hope. Canada can't be real. It's too good to be true.
Anything else is almost too good to be true at this point.
Yeah, I must admit, some of the stuff you guys have to put up with at the moment.
Not the United Kingdom. I would
I'm
not
s-
want.
Oh no, UK is pretty bad.
I would not want to be trans in the UK right now. Or
I'm
like
actually
ever.
starting to think I left the South just in time.
Yeah.
Chances are.
Far enough north.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
live in
keep-
California. I don't have that problem with the South. Well, we have Orange
Oh.
County, but we don't talk about Orange County.
I mean, we have
The
the
best rule of California is we don't talk about Orange County.
I actually just seen a video where Orange County pastor was burning LGBTQIA plus books from the library.
Oh, I know the Orange County
Ugh.
pastor quite well. I was attacked by a group of their zealots before, so
oh.
Wonderful.
I walk around obviously and openly trans and nobody cares.
okay. I wasn't walking around openly trans. My girlfriend was.
Oh.
She just began her HRT. She's only been like about 3 months on, so she just began.
That's where I started going full
It
time.
was in Long Beach. The thing about zealots is they don't stay in their home. They jump border to promote their hatred. And that's pretty much what happened.
Okay, I see.
Well, someone got
Yeah.
on me. I was in New Orleans with my ex-husband, and they thought we were a lesbian couple. He had some nice curves, okay? If I have anything nice to say about him, is the curves were so damn sweet.
That's kind of hilarious. Like, how does someone that
I had the
can-
Bible preached at me and everything. It was hilarious.
How could someone
And I was
who...
Christian at the time. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, dude, I'm a guy.
How could someone who present like how?
He had a
How could
Justin
he be
Bieber
such a-
haircut.
Ooh.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
By the way, I just want to make it
Ah.
on behalf of all Canadians. I just want to make a statement on Justin Bieber. You bought him. You bought him. Yeah, so you broke him. You bought him.
No. You sent him to us broken.
No,
we
he was.
just finished the process here.
But don't
As far as
worry.
I'm concerned, that was
Wait.
an act of war given us Bieber.
Don't worry, because we'd have had your back if Cruz got elected. So that's probably a trade that you want.
Well, if I could say anything, my ex-husband had the Justin Bieber haircut long before Justin Bieber had it.
You're going to talk about horrible exports that countries have done. We sent you Ken
How old
Hams.
was your how old is this guy?
He was a couple of years older than me, but I'm 25, so
Like Justin Bieber had that haircut since he was like 12. It's actually a common haircut in Ontario.
it
was
was a pretty
extremely
common
common.
haircut where I live too.
So
But if-
All the
I would
Southern
doubt
country
it.
boys and their long hair.
If we're going
I
to talk
would
about
doubt it.
badass words, I'm sorry for
you
Reagan.
export things wrongly, May. We got rid of Ken Ham. You should have done something like that.
Oh,
I'm
good
sorry
grief.
about
Kick
Reagan.
Ken Ham
Don't do that
off
again.
into the ocean or something. Just get rid of him.
Yeah, we got rid of him.
Yeah.
We did get rid of him. We gave him to you lot.
We don't want him. Push him off somewhere else.
Yeah, and then we took
We're not
Jones,
having him back.
Jackman, Russell Crowe.
allowed
I mean,
back.
it all worked out.
And yet, I'm the nation that gave everybody Ronald Reagan. Sorry.
You should be. How could you?
I know. I don't know. I just don't know.
As bad as you may think Ronald Reagan was, He doesn't hold a candle to Trump.
Well, the
No,
difference
not
between
at
Trump
all.
and Ronald Reagan is Ronald Reagan actually got things done.
He actually had a brain.
Not
I
much
wouldn't
of
say
one.
that.
So get this, my friend in Canada thinks that I'm wrong to be anti-Trump.
What?
Yeah, he actually
Does
thinks Trump is doing good for the nation. I'm like, are you fucking
He might be
kidding
doing
me?
good for Canada.
Is your he is doing good for Canada.
But here's the thing, me and
Like
my
Trudeau
friend
eats him
have
alive.
known each other for 7 to 8 years
Who
now,
would
and
do
we've
good for
never
Canada?
talked religion. I have no clue what his religious stance is. I just know that he's pro-Trump and I'm anti-Trump.
Is he in Alberta? We don't talk about Alberta. It's the
No, he's
Texas
in
of the
Quebec.
North. Oh, Quebec can be extremely shockingly conservative or extremely liberal. It depends where you are. It can go either way. Like they have a literal language police in Quebec. I'm not even joking. Like
Well,
they've
that
tried.
probably explains how he got to be friends with my ex-husband first, and then we kind of became friends and just been friends since. So that's a little weird thing.
Like the they tried to go after Italian restaurants for using Italian names for Italian food, like spaghetti and linguine and fettuccine alfredo in their menus. That's how insane the Quebec language police are.
okay, 1 second. I just have to make sure which one I can't go to now.
Really go to any of
Not
them.
atheist witch.
See you later. Like,
No, atheist witch.
like,
Okay, Ontario's above me. I'm safe.
yeah, Ontario's the best as far as I'm concerned. Maybe BC's almost as good, but yeah, I'm in Ontario. I'm in Ontario. I'm not very far from Toronto actually. So maybe like an hour. I'm going to Toronto tomorrow.
Which one of those coral reefs have the dogfish? Those things are cute.
The St. Lawrence. Could also be the Laurentians. Yeah.
Dogfish like pet pets.
Yeah, you give them all the pets you want. Of course. Oh no, wait, we don't have those. Of course, you could always give some pets to the muskies.
They may not be appreciative of it.
What kind of fish is that?
You know what a pike is? It's a bigger, nastier pike.
Okay, that's
So-
understandable.
It's pretty much a large fish with teeth that wants to rip your face off,
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
And
I'm
they
gonna
can-
see those.
but
They-
more cigar shaped than a piranha.
Yeah, they're well, they can grow. They can get up to like, a couple of meters and 50.
Wait, are we talking about anglerfish or something else? Because I just missed that.
We're talking about muskellunge, which is similar
Sounds
to a
like a
northern
river
pike.
fish.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty vicious.
Yeah, they only grow up. They only grow in like the northern states, mostly in Alaska. They're just really big, nasty, hungry fish. I saw one take a duck once.
Well, I think we're starting to get a few of those down here as well.
They don't like they don't like warm water though.
Well, I live in Humboldt County, so it's the same ecosystem.
Could be sea monsters.
Yeah.
They could be.
Actually, I'm so curious if they will find a legit sea monster.
I mean, there is the giant squid.
I've already heard stories about giant catfish.
I've seen some
So-
pretty big catfish. And then there are white sturgeon. Those things are massive and indestructible.
I've seen those, just pictures of them, but yeah, they look huge. By the way, dear God, looking at pictures of these muskies, they are massive.
They're massive. One almost bit my uncle's thumb off.
Oh, jeez.
I don't want to get in the water with any of those. Just no, not at all. I can't swim, so me in the water with something vicious sounds terrifying.
Yeah, and muskies can actually be vicious. They've been known to attack boats.
Oh no, these things they don't come down here.
No, but you have things like alligator gar in the States, so yeah.
Well, I don't have alligators in my area.
No.
I actually used to swim with alligators, so that's pretty much second nature for me. I can't actually swim though, so that's kind of even more scarier, being in the murky swamp water with alligators.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't say an alligator though. There's a fish in the States that's called an alligator gar.
Yeah.
Go look up that thing.
Yeah, but that's not in my area. My area is full of bass, salmon, and trout.
Yeah, and probably some pike or some shit like that. Walleye.
Nope, not my area. I'm safe.
Well, we
Northwest, the good place.
We also have like 80-pound snapping turtles.
Yeah, no, seen those. Yeah. Well, not necessarily that large, but yeah.
I got chased out of the water by one once.
Oh.
We have otters.
We have muskrats and beavers.
We have sharks.
We have sharks too, and ours are actually bigger.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are your white pointers bigger than ours?
No, we have the Greenland shark that's been known to come right up into right up through the St. Lawrence. And they are they're like one of the top 3 biggest sharks in the world, including the whale shark. They're just extremely rare and usually don't get seen, but they're as
plankton feeders though, aren't they? They're plankton feeders though, aren't they?
No, they're not. They're like a nest. They're like a bigger great white.
Well,
and
they've got
7 gills.
Now. Apparently, I've been swimming in areas with alligator gars before.
I'm sorry.
Lovely. Thank you, guys. I survived. I'm here.
Sorry.
It actually looks familiar to me, so that's kind of creepy.
You see, the problem, the scary things in Canada, unlike Australia, the scary things in Canada aren't the small things, they're the really big things. Like moose and polar bears.
I've had an alligator chase me down before, so that was probably one of my most scariest experiences.
Yeah.
I went to with an elk before.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I got my arrow out quicker, but the first arrow missed. Then the second arrow nailed him in the eye. But
I almost
back the second arrow. He was charging.
I almost got attacked by a grizzly one. Yeah.
But luckily you had your moose you were riding, so you were safe, right?
You guys will talk about dangerous animals.
Yeah, exactly. I
the worst.
My
and it's not true. We just aren't.
We have great whites where I'm at. Great whites.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have. Well, we do have great whites in, I think, in the summer around like Halifax and shit. We have the Greenland shark, and those things are. Is it the Greenland shark? I think it's the.
Yeah, it's a Greenland shark. I just looked it up.
Yeah, I mean these things have been caught in the St. Lawrence River, so they're going up fresh water.
Yeah, you get that with tiger sharks here.
Yeah, but our tiger shark's 24 feet long.
As long as they don't make it through the locks, I'm safe.
Tiger sharks are one of the most aggressive sharks in the world too.
Yeah, Greenland sharks are not, but they've been known to take moose.
Oh wow!
What?
Yeah.
That's
how people.
So I went prawning.
That's how people knew that they were in the St. Lawrence. One was witnessed taking a moose.
I don't know if you guys have ever been prawning, but I went prawning with some family friends. And because when you prawn, you walk the net out. You have one person either side, and you drag the net behind you to pick up the prawns. And when I got back from the walkout, they go, "You do realize we did this at night. You do realize there's tiger sharks in this estuary? You absolute fucks."
Here's the diet. Here's the diet. Greenland sharks have also been found with remains of seals, polar bears, horses, moose, and reindeer. In one case, an entire reindeer body in their stomachs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the Atlantic is pretty bad.
The shark that has no fucks to give. We have found the honey badger of the sea.
Yep. Yeah.
Dinosaurs confirmed right there.
and like they're apparently I don't know, they're let's see. Are these ones the 7 guild ones?
Does it matter?
I mean like these things are fucking terrifying.
Oh, we should see if we can get Aaron a license to get a cassowary.
Yeah.
Well, then they're about the same mass as an emu, but they're shorter.
Okay.
But unlike these, they are really intelligent.
Oh, okay.
And
the Australians could have beat them in war.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, it was the emus that they were fighting.
Yeah. The great emu.
Cassowaries are aggressive little shit. Well, they're not little, they're quite massive. That they're probably and they've got the same sort of intelligence that paleontologists think that velociraptors and that would have had.
Okay.
And they've got the same mentality when hunting. They will group up and hunt together.
So we have some okay, of course we have the legendary scary Canadian goose, which they're kind of they're kind of generally relatively harmless compared to other birds, but they're big and they're extremely aggressive as well. It's like
I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah, it's like a giant angry duck.
I've lived in Minnesota, and all your birds migrated and would nest right next to my house. Over 200 of them. You seriously could not even walk in that field because they were piled on top of each other.
Yep. Welcome to where I live in the summer. I already said it, but like the whether our beaches,
they're aggressive shit.
Just whether our beaches are open or closed, in my city, is dependent on how much goose shit there is in the water coming from upstream, because that's the main source of pollutants. I shit you not.
Surprised. Did you try for that pun, or did it just work that way?
It just worked that way. And we have another very, very, very angry and aggressive bird up here. Is the wild turkey. And those things can be those things are like nasty and evil. So I used to work security at our local zoo, and we have free roaming turkeys at our zoo. And despite what people might tell you, turkeys can actually fly. They have chased me out of the gates repeatedly, where the big scary predators like the bobcat would just come up to me and purr, and I'd pet her, and really all I did when I pet the bobcat and the friendly camp.
And those are the only 3 animals you had there.
Oh no, we have seal. Oh no, sorry, not seals. We have otters. We have monkeys. We have donkeys, and the donkeys were not actually really all that friendly, but there were where kids could touch them. We have what else do we have there? We have a lot. I haven't been there for a while, even if it's free. I got sick there after working there for like a year. We used to have we used to have a monkey house where they had like just a hole in the floor that was like covered up and stuff, but you could drop like fish feeding pellets in it, and it would like attract the most massive fucking carp, and then you'd get the odd like it would attract like 30 or 40 pound carp, but then you'd get the odd like massive 60 or 70 pound channel cat, and the carp would just part like fucking water before Moses. It was kind of hilarious. But yeah, we had that for a while. They closed down that monkey house, and it's all actually owned by our public works for some reason. We had cougars. The cougars died because they were old. We have servals. We had wolves for a while. They died from old age. So we actually have had a fair amount for just a free zoo in a town of like 80,000 people.
Town of. I'm sorry, that's a city.
No, in Ontario, a city, a town cannot be incorporated into a city unless it's over 100,000 people.
Really?
Yep.
Still city.
Yeah, we're a city and we only have 25,000 people.
Considering the places I live, that's massive. The current town I live in is way less than 200 people.
I mean, I once lived in a town of 25 people. My mom doesn't even live in a town, but there's more than 25 people there.
Well, the most deadly thing we have in our town are the redwood trees. Take one fallen branch from that redwood tree and you're done.
Good night.
We have coyotes wandering around in some places in town. Like,
who doesn't?
Arnie, you mentioned that because I was just thinking coyotes when, just thinking coyotes because I was hearing coyotes last night.
Oh, okay.
We have 4 different types of deadly poison snake. Does that count?
We have like one, but we have one of the most notorious and well-known spiders worldwide too. Even though they're not actually all that deadly.
You have the brown recluse up here.
We have the black widow.
Yeah. Basically the same. Our redback is a widow, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's actually not all that dangerous, really.
Not to an adult human, to children or people who are allergic, yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's the most dangerous of the species, but still.
I mean, we do have one of the most poisonous spiders in the world in Australia.
You have the most poisonous everything in the world in Australia.
That's actually a lie.
Okay, Australia has everywhere beat.
Oh yeah?
Our spider is like the 3rd most poisonous.
What's the king brown?
Yeah, but that's not where we do get them here. That's a lie. I just never seen one.
What about like the box jellyfish?
Yeah, the box jellyfish is pretty bad. Another thing I have never actually seen.
Or the blue-ringed octopus.
Yeah, I've seen them a few times.
Wait, Wellington, you're living in the redwoods as well?
The blue-ringed octopus is it. The problem with the blue-ringed octopus is it just looks so innocuous. It's tiny. You think about this big octopus, but the blue ring is a tiny octopus, about the same size as a large coin.
Yeah. Oh.
And it looks adorable. It looks cute, and children go and pick them up.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Which is the problem because they are incredibly venomous.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought them up.
So, I've seen a few of them. I've seen quite a few tiger snakes. They're quite bad, but at least their venom takes a while to happen, and there's plenty of anti-venom around.
You have venomous mammals there, okay?
We have no. Well, yeah.
I don't think the platypus
is a venomous mammal, the platypus, yes.
the platypus is not venomous, is poisonous. There's a difference between poison and venom.
No. It injects venom with a spur on
it does.
its foot.
Yes, it injects venom. Yeah.
It's not poisonous.
Does it inject?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a
What
claw
a strange fucking creature.
Yeah, it's got a hollowed claw that it can inject venom.
Yeah. They say spore, I meant spur.
Cool. Yeah, I thought it was for defense.
It's like it's a claw.
It's apparently for mating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a wildlife biologist from Australia.
Platypuses are not aggressive either, so it's not something you'd really have to worry too much about.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying everything in Australia is venomous.
And it's not true.
I think I will just stick with my salmon, thank you.
We've got quite a few poisonous spiders here, but where I am, we only really get redbacks. That's it. We're on the wrong side of the country to have the funnel web, which is the worst one.
Yeah, that's good.
The problem with funnel webs is the venom is toxic enough that it can kill an adult within an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah, so although having said that, there's only been 2 deaths in the last 20 years. So
well, that's good.
Yeah, well,
I think it has to do with being
the antivenoms are there, and they are an aggressive spider, but like all spiders, if they're an aggressive, if you leave them alone, they actually are not going to run at you and attack you. They will.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem you have with them is, oddly enough, that most spiders, their venom works on a majority of animals. Funnel web spider is only deadly to primates.
Really?
Which is ridiculous considering humans are the only primates in Australia.
Interesting.
So why did they develop this venom that is only deadly to primates?
That's a little weird.
Evolutionary trait. They think there probably is something else that it's effective on, but it probably some other form of insect. But as far as mammalians go, primates are the only ones that are affected by it, as in it can kill them. They can grab a funnel web, inject the venom into a horse, and the horse won't die. It'll just create the antibodies, and then they can stream out those antibodies and use it to make antivenom. It's really easy to make antivenom for the funnel web.
Can we just all agree that like Africa's the worst because it has like the big shit from it has the big shit from here, and it has bigger shit than Canada and more and almost as much poisonous shit or venomous shit as Australia. Okay.
It does. Well, it has some of the most
with that.
So.
It'd actually be a hard comparison between Africa and Australia right there. Because I do have to admit, there is a lot of shit in both areas you don't want to encounter if you're a tourist.
But don't encounter them. That's the point. I mean, how often do you guys encounter black widows?
I've encountered tons of them, and even some albino ones.
They're not terribly common where I am, but I'm within their range.
We have brown recluse. They're not very common. And it's more like the parasites that live on them that are more dangerous.
Yeah, generally speaking, with insects and spiders and that, the arachnids, they stay out of your way most of the time anyway. You don't really see them. So the danger to you isn't that. The main danger with funnel webs is because people don't realize that their pets aren't at danger, and funnel webs will eat dog food.
What?
They will they'll climb in and they'll if there's wet dog food, they'll eat it. Okay. So they'll get dog bowls, and then the dog comes over and barks and tries to attack the spider, and the owner panics, tries to protect their dog from getting bitten and killed, and they end up bitten. And that's how most bites have occurred. Either that or the spider has crawled inside your shoe and you got to put your shoe on and it bites you.
Yeah. Don't you have scorpions too?
But that many people have been bitten by funnel webs, got bitten by trying to protect their pets. And they didn't need to because their pet was in no danger at all.
That's interesting. I mean,
Some spiders really don't attack people though, and they actually kind of have their own little ecosystem. Now there are some that will. Like my boyfriend was bit the other day and has this massive swelling on his leg now. So we do have some pretty poisonous spiders. I've had a wolf spider sit in my window for a week and didn't even bother the shit out of me.
Yeah, but they're not poisonous anyway. So.
I had a dock spider chase me off a dock before. It was big for like it wasn't like huge, but it was big enough, and then I pissed it off and got it to bite like a stick. And yeah, it had a lot of venom, I could tell that. And I was like 15 or 16 or something like that, so I just fucked off the dock. Like, I didn't want to kill it, right? But I had clearly pissed it off by stepping on the dock and probably getting it wet. And it was clearly pissed off at me, antagonizing it with the stick. And I had bare feet on, and I didn't want to get bit by the thing. So I just fucked off.
Yeah, the worst thing you're going to face up here, animal-wise, are the humans that live in the woods. Those guys.
Oh yeah, humans are dreadful creatures.
You will get strung up. You will bear trapped. You will get shot. That's the worst animal you would find in these woods.
And that's just on Tuesday.
Well, that sounds
we have a cartel problem. It's lessening, but we still got the problem.
Yeah, ours are not as bad as yours, so. Usually. Most of the time, yes.
Just people trying to protect their marijuana. Can't blame them.
That's legal here.
Yeah, that's legal here too, and that's why the cartels are lessening.
Yeah, I mean
we're still the marijuana capital of the world, and people come to us for the best weed.
Like I get all my marijuana from California.
Yeah, probably from my area too.
Probably.
Yeah, the Emerald
I have
Triangle.
a friend that goes and gets them and brings it back.
Yeah, the Emerald Triangle, Trinity, Northern California, Humboldt County. That's where it's from.
Most of the people around here get their weed from British Columbia, which is
that's like Vancouver, right?
Yeah, is just north of California or Washington.
Yeah, so you two are getting it from us. You're welcome. Yeah, it goes up to
Canada. I have to say, the last shit that came out of California was pretty darn good.
We have the best brand. It's all about the branding.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm innocent. I don't smoke pot. So.
Either do I. But
I do like once a month.
But I don't.
But it is the economy of my community. So it's, even though I don't smoke pot, I benefit from the marijuana industry.
My neighbor makes the best cookies, and I'll just leave it at that. You can take a bite and you'll be done.
I can't smoke anything because I have shit lungs, probably from my parents smoking too much. But yeah, I know where to get cookies and brownies.
I don't smoke anything because of my asthma, so.
Same here.
I won't say I haven't.
I don't have.
I have tried.
Try the butter.
Yep. Brownies, girl.
I have really bad asthma too, so I try to stick away from smoking. I've probably done it maybe a few times every few months, and that's literally my limit.
Vaping is much better.
I don't do vaping. Vaping kills me.
Really?
Yeah. It completely sends me off into a cough storm.
Yeah, wow. Ruins your asthma.
It's like a lot better for me, but I still prefer edibles.
Vaping is probably 100 times more worse than just regular smoking for me. And I've even tried the E6.
Well, let me tell you what's horrible: laser hair removal.
Oh, you've got to go and do that, don't you?
Yeah, that's my day tomorrow. Is riding on a bus, getting lasered. Not just my face this time, my torso from below my neck to.
Ow.
Yeah, and then riding on a bus back home. I'm gonna leave at 9:30 and get back at like 5.
And I don't even grow pubic hair.
That's where we're stopping for now.
Yeah, not going there. Just, yeah, no.
The only thing I've heard is electrolysis is supposed to be worse.
I've done both, and the problem with electrolysis is how long it takes.
Yeah, I actually have some blonde hairs on my face. I'm going to need to electrolysis them. But yeah, the reason I'm getting my torso done is literally because I don't want hairy boobs. That's it.
Understandable.
Sounds reasonable. So, I think all guys should get their torso done.
I
don't like hairy men.
I never really had
Neither
that
do I.
because I didn't have any chest hair.
I don't have a huge amount, but I don't have none either.
It may be due to we have part Native American in our bloodline. My brother absolutely cannot grow a beard and has no chest hair. And he's in his 20s.
I'm Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
Oh no, Wellington, I missed that.
Oh yeah, I don't even have the chat up.
Well, I was paying attention to chat for a while.
I kind of forgot about chat because I have to turn off my phone so I don't take up all my internet.
And of course I have.
Let me see. I'm running off from 4G and my boyfriend is in there playing what was it again? He's playing something on the PS4 and it's taking up most of the internet.
Oh.
Is all your internet 4G?
Yeah, it really sucks that that's the best internet I can get out here.
Oh, that is so good.
We have a lot. We actually have a lot of the same here. My ISP actually does a 4G in places where that's the only option. But yeah, my ISP is usually pretty good. There was a hiccup last Sunday.
There wasn't there? At least it was after the stream.
Yeah, like right after we ended, the whole thing went down. Or my entire internet went down, and it wasn't okay. So my internet service provider actually buys wholesale from another company. So it was Cogeco's fault, not Nexicom. But still, it was. I don't know. I was down for what, like a good hour.
Yeah, it's about that.
Back with the fire started in California, we were down for like 5 days, and it took them like 9 more months to fix the lines.
So are you talking about the fire that happened last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. We had so much smoke blowing off from that. And our entire mountain was on fire. It turned black.
We had some
we had some red nights. The moons were blood red, and red skies all over. Always smelled like smoke.
It was pretty bad. I live right on the border, so I get everything that blows over from California.
I was 5-10 miles from it.
Ooh. I wouldn't say 5-10 miles from the border. I
was 5 or 10 miles from the fire. It was like not far from me at all.
Where I live is pretty close to the border. It's not on the border. I'm still probably about a few towns away. And it's so isolated, the loneliest road doesn't even have anything on us. That's pretty isolated. And we're a ghost town too. We don't have any stores or like we barely have a gas pump. It's like one of those really old-fashioned gas pumps.
So you drive to nowhere and take a left.
Yeah, pretty much.
Left of nowhere.
It quite literally is the middle of nowhere. Our internet runs off from a generator that's on the hill, and the only people who service it is the local mine. So if they don't put gas in it, we can be out of internet for however long. And some idiot decided they wanted to go flip the fuses up there on the tower. And when they flipped it back on, they actually blew up the tower. So we were out of internet for over a month.
Wow.
pretty dreadful.
It's
definitely epic though, because every time we go into town, people keep trying to sell us internet and TV and all this stuff, and we're like, you don't service our area. And they're like, well, we service everywhere, and we're like, you don't. And then finally they get down to, where do you live? And then we tell them, and they're like, oh shit. Like, it takes me over 2 hours to just drive to town. That's pretty isolated.
Wow, that's yeah. That's wow, yeah. That's
So is it so isolated that you don't have cops?
Yeah, we don't have cops.
I'm trying to think of somewhere that's like 2 hours.
We legit lost our cop just last year because we're so isolated, and our town cannot support anything like that.
Yeah, so it's not even a town, it's a village.
Yeah, basically.
No, that'd be a town.
Actually, if you think about it, we only survive because we live right next door to a mine. So it's a mining camp that was turned into a town.
Anthropologically speaking, a town has less, to be a village, you have to have less than 200 people because that's the amount of faces the average mind can remember.
Yeah, we do have less than 200 people. Most of the houses are old, dilapidated, and completely torn apart. So, and most of the houses have asbestos on it still.
Oh, well, we have asbestos here. So.
I used to live in a town called Deloro, which was actually a mining town for an asbestos mine, and even we had a general store. And internet. Well, we weren't that far out from anywhere, but it was still like 25 people.
Less than 2 days from a major shopping center. So.
Well, if you want to call this a store, this guy, he goes to town and he buys a bunch of supplies and brings it back to sell it to us.
Yeah.
So I guess that would count as our store, except for he sells it at such a high price. It's triple the original price that you would get if you went to town and got it at the store.
It sounds about right.
I live walking distance from a grocery store, and I live yeah. Oh, but I mean, like 2 minutes. But
it's going to pay for travel costs. It sounds about right. Gas is expensive.
Oh yeah, it costs me $80 every time I have to go get gas from town.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. I think I almost got up to $90 this last trip, actually.
Yeah, gas is getting more expensive. Our gas shouldn't be expensive, but it is expensive. Because reasons. Which really suck.
Yeah, because the pipelines aren't really doing much, are they?
Yeah, but we make our own friggin' gas. We make our gas, we sell it, and then we buy it back.
Yep.
It's fucking annoying. Oh well, I don't drive, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting to that point for everyone, isn't it? You're all too tired.
And I'm probably gonna have to go off here in a few minutes anyways, because I gotta check on my kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I left her with her dad, and she fell asleep last time I checked on her, which was about half an hour ago.
Okay, well, it was awesome for you to be able to join us.
Yeah, thanks for joining
us.
I
enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same thing Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It depends on how shitty my kid acts. Because sometimes she just does not want to go to sleep, and I have to deal with that. That's lovely.
Well, that'd be great to have you on. And we have another person who Boole got for us too, which is great. So I'll talk with him at some point in the future.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get another guy on because I kind of feel like the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so it's gonna be. I wouldn't mind getting someone who's gender fluid on, but everyone I know who's gender fluid, who would come on and be useful, is like not nice.
Yeah.
Ever since interacting with a bunch of people online, I'm discovering that's a good portion of
That's
people.
what happened to me.
Well, everyone that I know that's gender fluid is also bipolar, so
Yeah.
Well, like
I don't want to confuse the two things, basically.
well,
No, I get what you're saying, that you just encountered people that happen to be bipolar and gender fluid at the same time.
Yeah, and I don't want to
there's
confuse the two things. So
actually, there's a thing. People who are no, people who are okay. So there's two different versions of bigender, right? There's always both, and then there's one that's like gender fluid, except for it wholesale switches like a light bulb. So it's closer to gender fluid than what I am. So actually there is a thing called alternating gender incongruence, which is related to both that version of bigender and gender fluid. That actually one of the things that they can correlate with it is being bipolar, and they did a study. If you look up alternating gender incongruence, you will find that. But the people who I'm talking about are I guess not many people are going to be watching this late, but Maddie, EOT, and Callan are all gender fluid, and it's like, yeah, we can see where any of that's going to go.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad thing, because that doesn't identify everyone that is gender fluid. It just happens to be they are the most prominent, and their actions have kind of made a lot of people put off.
No, I know. Like I have the first person who I encountered who's gender fluid is like a good friend of mine and absolutely amazing. I'm just saying the only ones that I know who would go on and who would like be who I could ask, like, well, couldn't ask two of them, but the only people who I know of that, you know, without going hunting, are those three. And
currently they've kind of pushed a lot of people away, even some of the transgender community.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still
it kind of gets a little iffy.
I mean, I'm still a fan of EOT, but even recently they've become very gatekeepy.
I still watch EOT stuff. So don't get me wrong on saying this. I do not agree with EOT's actions as of late.
Yeah, they've been very not in the best interest of discourse.
Yeah.
I still have an interest in their content. I don't have an interest in their actions. If that makes sense.
But I can also see where EOT is coming from. That's the thing.
Exactly. We can all see where it comes from. It's just the actions are kind of having a negative effect, and that's what I don't agree with.
I think they're
I think there's a better way.
Like basically what I'm trying to say is that like having any of the three of them on would inevitably end up in the conversation being derailed, as opposed to any judgment on their character.
A bit like today's non sequitur ended up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think EOT is taking things far too personally and is not effectively dealing with his own personal issues in this matter. And
I never take anything personally.
I try not to as well.
I try to look at things logically.
I've got problems with the way EOT has done things. I've still got problems with Steven's Stephen Woodford's position as well, because
I've come to the point where I think
he's put himself in a little echo chamber there, probably in as much in response to some of the responses he's had, and it's not going to do much good in terms of education on the issue.
No.
Now I come to the I stopped watching EOT about a year ago when he started getting heavily into the UKIP and the Jordan
I never
Peterson
watched them.
stuff. But now I'm even kind of distancing myself from this whole conversation further because I was right there bringing out his bad videos immediately. I was giving things over to EOT, telling him what's going on, and I feel like I kind of started the whole thing, which is weird because I didn't. But
with Stephen Woodford's video, though, a lot of cis heterosexuals are agreeing with us that his latest video is still crap.
Yeah,
he may have some points that are correct, but then he still has these underlying issues that just were not addressed in the right way.
Yeah, he very much doubled down on things like the muscle fibers, which were all we have is a mouse study that shows that the mouse study specifically shows that environmental factors is what contributes to fast twitch muscle fibers.
Well, we don't just have the mouse study though. We do actually have cross-sectional muscle studies on trans people as well, and that tends to correlate more with body size and hormones. The hormones do reduce the muscle size, but the muscle size reduction is more based on body size than it is on.
And I've seen those too, but those ones.
If you actually correlate the studies correctly, the muscle changes bring us down into the general range of cis women.
Yeah, yes, and I have those studies. I've shown those studies. I
just come across a very interesting study, courtesy of Concordance, that also shows that everyone is looking at testosterone being a major factor. Nobody's looking at estrogen as being a factor at all. And what I was presented with, I have to fully go over the study, but what I was presented with is that basically tendons and ligaments in I don't even want to say woman. I want to say tendons and ligaments. The study was on cis women, but they are made more elastic by the presence of estrogen or estradiol. So like tendon injuries are something like 54% less common in women's football or soccer or whatever you want to call it than it is in men's, and that's because the tendons in women are more able to withstand that kind of injury. But what that has me thinking is that, like, if I'm reading it right, and it's because the muscles are more or it's because the ligaments are more elastic. I don't know how much or anything, because like I said, I haven't fully read the thing. Like, would that not also have an effect on whatever your effective strength is in some cases? Because when you try to pull something, it's the difference between using a string and an elastic to lift something, right? The elastic will stretch a bit before it actually has enough force to lift it, and a string will just either lift it or break. And that's an extreme. That's not really how it is. That's an extreme comparison, but it's the easiest one I can make at the time.
I have seen those studies as well, and that is showing that women are far more suited for endurance runs like triathlons and other great endurance things due to this estrogen providing elasticity to the muscles. But when I was talking about muscle fibers, I was isolating type 2 muscle fibers, which are your fast twitch muscle fibers.
Fast twitch, yeah.
Yeah, and those seem to be based on training, on extrinsic factors more than they are the intrinsic factors. But when we are regarding the bone mass, the bone density and the muscle mass, those things are brought to a relatively similar level.
Bone density just takes longer.
I think it's like only 0. I think it's like 0.04% higher than the average.
Yeah,
but
it's not not outside of the standard deviations.
So. No, it's not at all.
And height is a favorite one that people like to bring up, right?
That's weight class. That size and weight class. We can shoot those, and I'm all in favor of size and weight classes.
Oh yeah,
but leverage is talked about quite often.
But I do have an issue though, people trying to say that women are not tall or big bone though, because there are some cis heterosexual females that are, especially within my family. They're over 6 foot tall, massive bone structure, and if they were to actually compete in a sport, then there would be so many people at a disadvantage if you were to put that.
Yeah, and that's why things like heart size, which is another thing that's always brought up by these people who want to make it like it's important. They talk about heart size, but that is entirely based upon your body size. If you are taller and bigger bone, your heart is the same size as it is with someone with a male or female, regardless.
There's a whole lot of stuff going on with that, but I do want to.
And I'm fine with having rules against size, having size classes. That works.
Yes, I think size classes are a requirement, and women's sports lacks a lot of the larger size classes.
Agreed.
And it needs them because women in general are getting taller and bigger as well.
So I do want to bring something up about not weight but height. If you take all of the trans women, not cis men, I've had to tell people this. Don't look at cis men. Don't look at the male average. Only look at trans women, because you have to only look at trans women, not anyone who identifies as a man, right? So if you look at all the trans women. And I've actually been told this is extremely conservative, and it's actually a lot worse, or a lot better in our favor. But if, first off, trans women tend to lose an inch or two in height. So in the U.S., that brings the average height of a trans woman from 5'9" to 5'7". I'm really hoping I don't lose any height.
I was 5'9" before I started transition. I actually don't know how tall I am now.
Not everybody does lose height. I'm hoping I don't. But so I'm 6 foot. So I like tall women. Shut up. So I like being a tall woman. So like if you took all of the but I'm using 5'9" as the height in this. So 2.5% of cis women are over are 5'7" or over. 1% of 2% total of women are trans women. If you use the 1% of the population are trans women, it's roughly 50-50. And not all of the trans women are 5'9" or taller. A lot of us can be like 5'7" or shorter. Like up here, Blair White says she's like 5'2" is an example. So you can't even take that entire 2%. It's probably like 1.5%. So so there are more cis women who are 5'9" than there are trans women of any height. And then you can go further and statistically assert that their list of height, there's more cis women of that height or taller than trans women that height or taller. And I was told by Dr. Rachel McKinnon that my numbers are actually extremely conservative. I just did quick math, and that it's actually like, it's actually like exponentially. There's like but they could be using different numbers from 2%.
Another thing to remember is that athletes tend to be on the higher size regarding height and stature.
It depends if the sport is a sport that would need that. Like you'll not have a jockey over like 5'5", I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if height's an advantage in that sport, then you're going to have more cis women with height in that sport.
Exactly.
So a trans woman with height is not going to have an advantage.
No. And no, the argument is that trans women have a statistical height advantage over cis women. And we actually don't. We have a statistical height disadvantage.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case at all from what I've seen on the studies, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's you don't even need studies for that. You just need quick math. that's basic algebra.
Even if there is a small advantage after hormones, after X number of years on hormones, do we as a population have a statistical advantage? Because that's what matters. If an individual ends up with an advantage, then individuals have advantages. Sports is inherently unfair.
Yep. And
it's us as a community, do we have a statistical advantage? And I think that you could actually strongly prove now that we don't.
Yeah. I mean, people like
just
to
on numbers we don't.
People like to ignore it.
There isn't.
People like to ignore it, but like, you can dig up the records of most trans athletes. Most trans athletes don't even have a good record, let alone a statistically average record.
Well, that's why in the last 15 years there's been one trans person who's qualified for an Olympic team, and that was a trans man.
I mean,
I can go back to the 1970s with Renee Richards.
Yep.
I mean, we do need more research into the subject, but from what we're seeing right now from the research, it's not showing any advantage. It's more showing a disadvantage.
Which is why I think the onus is on those who want to stop us now to show that there is an advantage.
And I would agree, and that's where you want to start. You want to start with giving the person the base fundamental participation and base rights. And until you prove they're guilty, once you have proved they're guilty of the advantage, then you can remove them. But right now, the case is showing they are not guilty of having an advantage.
Yeah. And like, people like to bring up like testosterone being banned regardless of whatever the result is, but that's an intentional thing, right? It's banned because there's an intent to take it. So like, that doesn't apply to trans women, because we don't necessarily take it with intent. We come with it, and we usually do everything we can to get rid of it.
You're actually taking blockers in most cases.
To be a top level athlete, you really have to start young. You have to start at a young age and compete at a young age, and your best years are going to be in your early 20s, maybe pushing to 30s, depending on the sport.
Yeah.
So the trans people who are going to get into the Olympics aren't going to be late transitioners. They're going to be young transitioners who have no advantage.
Yeah. Oh no, there are people who will even argue that young transitioners have advantages.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I don't like.
As an older transitioner, what are we going to do? We're going to maybe compete in Masters. We're never going to set any records. We're never going to influence sports in any way, shape, or form. And you're going to say, oh, you might have an advantage, so you can't participate.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't even, like, this is my new thing, is I ask people to explain and quantify the advantage. How much of an advantage is there? Can you put a number on this for me, please?
See, they don't want us to they don't want us to show that we don't have an advantage. They want us to show that we're worse.
Half isn't good enough. It has to be cut in whole. Stupid shit like that.
And it's like they expect it to be, you can participate, but here's the thing, you have to lose kind of situation.
Yeah, that's exactly
it is
with
that.
the human body in total, any kind of sport, you're going to want to try the win.
And
it doesn't matter when or who or what. That's the whole goal of it, is you're trying to win.
You know what one of the major catalysts for this whole argument is?
Excluding trans women from women's spaces.
No, like the whole anti-trans women in sports. Do you know what the whole catalyst for this was?
It was
I actually don't.
Male trans wrestler in the female divisions and
No, that you actually have that backwards. That was a trans man who was being forced to participate in the women's. But no,
that was trans male forced to. I thought it was. I could be completely wrong.
You said it, but you kind of had it spaced out, so it was a little bit hard to kind of connect it. But
but that wasn't it. That wasn't it, because I'm sorry, nobody cares about men.
Like I could have seen where that would have been a catalyst.
I don't want to say Cross was the beginning of this either.
It kind of brought it to light, but it wasn't it wasn't the catalyst.
But it was very big in it.
The catalyst was in her 13th race. Like what? 10 of which she lost. Rachel McKinnon actually won a championship.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I like Rachel. She's
awesome. then the person who beat her in all of those races complained about her being trans. That's the biggest catalyst for this, as far as I understand.
That's my kind of issue. The person that beat her 10 out of 3 times.
I just seen it as poor sportsmanship. She really wanted that scholarship, and because she didn't even make it, she had to complain.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That completely backtracked not just trans women's rights, but women's rights as a whole, both trans and cis.
Yeah.
Because we cannot fight for equality and then have someone go and do shit like that woman did on TV.
And it's even hurting cis women, because it almost hurt cis woman because of the whole bullshit with I can't pronounce the name. Castor.
Castor is still going through troubles with that. She has to appeal the case.
No, she wanted her appeal. She won the appeal.
Oh, she did. I did not read that. But
either she won the appeal or it was.
Me personally, I have an issue with Castor competing. We intersex people are clearly homo superior. We are above all of you. So, as a mutant, I have a problem with that.
Yes, we are definitely X people.
And an amazing biologist who goes by the Twitter name of Lauren Bailey actually says that in the future trans people will be considered intersex.
And I'm actually on the cutting line of that, because I do think trans people are intersex. But that's because
current brain studies would suggest that is the case. Even down to the fact that they know that the hormone receptors in the brain behave differently with estrogen than they do with testosterone, and they've got evidence to show that in trans people's brains, their brains are actually more wired towards the hormone that they actually.
The neurobiology stacks up, and once you change the biochemistry, you're already changing the sex hormones.
I am so reading up on that for our thing with Shannon.
Yeah, it is really fascinating that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already, but the thing is, I come from a different place with that. I'm already at the baseline that a lot of our social behaviors, our sociology, is just a word we use to describe human ethology, which is the study of animal behavior as ethology. And we just like to sugar it up and say that we're not human and throw it in there. And it's.
Kadima,
yeah.
Would you come on the stream with us? With Shannon?
Me and Shannon have talked a few times about this, and I know she has nearly the same opinion. We're both biological impaired.
You represent intersex better than I do, and it'd be good to have your input on it. I know I'm going to piss May off.
This will be on the NonSeq, right?
No, this will be on our channel.
This one.
Then it would be great, because I'm not sure I'm ready for NonSeq quite yet.
Okay.
It sounds like
on Sunday night.
I've been trying to get on the NonSeq since January.
Kyle has asked me, and I said no, I'm not ready. He wants me to go on and talk about my my gay bashing, which I'm just not ready to fully discuss about anywhere. So
okay.
Yeah, I would be interested in doing the show with Shannon. That sounds awesome. Shannon's great.
No, well, that's Sunday night. So
this Sunday?
Sunday at 8.
All right.
We're gonna have a lot of people.
Email.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of people, but I think it's necessary because the topic is just about differing gender identities.
Yeah, that's all we're really doing.
Where Shannon just wants to get into our psyches and get an idea of how this works, and
I'm looking.
Yeah, all right. I can tell her about how I am a futanari. I prefer the word over intersex because it sounds more poetic. It means two wings.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I'm intersexed, but I mean, my experience was so much in parallel with any trans persons that I find it really hard to claim that title. So
mine often is too, but I did not need the hormones to do any kind of transition. So.
Yeah, well, I took the hormones as well, but
my body just
my testosterone levels were stupidly low. I had underdeveloped testes, and
I have one of those micros myself.
Yeah.
I'm one of those weird ones. I knew I was different when I was 5 years old. No social pushed on construct. I just knew I was different. So I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I always say it was from 8, but I can't remember exactly when I didn't know I was different. So
I vividly remember the experience that I realized that I was a cis boy, and I was about 9. I probably just hit puberty, like in early 9, and yeah, I had a very, very vivid daydream that I was basically both a boy and a girl, and that has stuck with me for a very long time, and it was extremely euphoric. And yeah, then I got extremely dysphoric a couple of years later, and that really sucked. And then I had to I had to try to figure myself out.
So Kanama, it is your intersex, is it a genetic
one? It is a form of Klinefelter's, yes.
A form of Klinefelter's.
I am XXY.
Yeah. So see, my intersex was caused by des exposure in utero.
So you were phenotypically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Mine is mainly genetic. I am genetically not male or female. So.
I have a friend who has that. No, actually, she's the gender fluid person I mentioned.
When I found out I was different, it was in high school. I was already thrown out from my parents, and I had to be in the boys' locker room because I was a boy officially. And I remember starting to develop like a woman. My hips got wider, my breast started to come in, and that turned a lot of heads. It was definitely very but what I did instead was I wrapped my chest all the time. I would pad my crotch. I would try to act so much like a man that I would get into so many fights that I had to go to Olympic school.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of having to prove your masculinity, and it's kind of more
toxic
what I have to deal with, actually, because since I was born biologically a woman, I have to deal more with trying to prove my masculinity or my stance of equality, at least. And same thing I know with someone, he was trans male, he was out, he had way more to prove than a cis man would.
Yeah, and I felt the same way. I had to be more manly than the rest of the people, and it caused me to.
It's the same thing for trans women. We are expected to be more feminine than feminine, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that completely blows the whole concept that everyone is different. Everyone has different likes, different hobbies, different actions, different interactions. It just completely shits on that and says, no, here, this is what you have to follow. This is what you're supposed to do, and that's it.
But yeah, I just do my own thing and ignore all that shit, and I always have. And now if people take exception to it, I tell them to suck my non-binary girl dick and fuck off.
but even nowadays, I'll find myself slipping into that. Like, I go out of my way to find gender neutral clothes. I try to, but I will still try to act more manly around other people.
Okay.
It's weird.
Yeah,
See, they would actually try to feminize me growing up because I wasn't feminine enough. As a biological female, I just kind of blew their minds out of the water. Like, okay, yeah, you're not acting like a girl. You need to act like a girl. You need to wear girly stuff. You need to do this. You need to do that. And they would actually try to force me into submission. So I actually went through some pretty severe beatings and abuse to get me more feminine.
Yeah,
that's not
I was the
gonna
same
have
with
that
that.
effect.
I did learn a nifty trick though. I learned how to take advantage of the full range of my voice. Now, when I really want to, I can just totally sound like a dude, and everybody would buy it.
I'll totally buy
it. Yeah, it's a new, unique trick that I have learned, and so now I have like this vocal range that is insane because of it.
I used to be able to do that. Yeah, but now I can't because I forgot. This is the tone of voice that I've always talked in, like my entire life. So, yeah, but
this is my natural tone of voice, but I do tend to deepen it like when I'm out in public, which is like, weird.
I've tried to do voice training both going up and down. I just can't do chest resonance. It's just not something I'm capable of doing.
Okay, so I used to be able to sing.
On the phone, I will try and sound even more feminine because it is the one spot where I occasionally get misgendered.
I used to be able to do a Barry White. I can't do that anymore.
Oh,
I have lost the Barry White skill.
But
I used to be able to sing tenor, and it would shock everyone because they see this tiny little girl singing in tenor. And then all of a sudden I went through this really severe illness that affected me for a month. I ended up in ICU and it completely damaged my vocal cords. I can't hit that low anymore.
Oh.
You got the mono?
I
had the mono before.
This one was actually whooping cough. I have a severe problem with my immune system that doesn't actually fight diseases and stuff like it should. Kind of like an autoimmune disorder, but it was self-created because I was on antibiotics for over a year.
Ew.
For something that almost killed me and almost took out my liver.
Ew.
Yeah, I know how that is, Oopsie, because I've got vocal cord scarring from getting a chronic throat infection.
Like, if I have trouble breathing even in the slightest, my right lung, all I can feel is piercing pain. And I cough all the time, so I actually have to mute myself and double edit.
Yeah. Sorry. Trouble.
Well, it was lovely having anti-vax parents. Not really.
Oh,
kind of want to beat them up every once in a while because some of the shit that happened to my body could have been avoided.
On the idiocy of anti-vaccine.
I'm actually planning for it, and if it wasn't for my current project, that would have been the video I was planning on putting out with this last one.
I did not have anti-vax parents. I did, however, had pray it away parents.
Oh, wonderful.
I had those too. They were pray it away parents, anti-vax parents, and they were in so many different versions of a cult. It's not even funny. I fell down the stairs when I was 1 year old, and I was unconscious for a few hours, and they brought me to church thinking the church could heal me.
Yeah, my parents would do the same. They were their own unique denomination, but they hanged around churches like Foursquare, NFIB, well, not the N, but the IFB, and other crazy pastors. They were very, they called themselves non-denominational, just so they can, like, hop around all the really bastard asshole churches. But I am pretty sure that my mother would be totally flat earth right now if I was talking to her. So,
well, my mom's at least not flat earth. She does believe in a round earth. Very fundamental Pentecostal, almost as bad as DNIFB. Actually, getting pretty up there. I've been watching their posts really carefully lately.
Well, my mother threw me out for being bi, so she was definitely she hanged out with a lot of IFB, not the NFIB, because I'm too old for that. But
I'm so glad I'm Australian.
I'm so glad I'm Canadian. This shit is like horrid.
That's terrifying. It really is terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
My own mother does not know I am not straight.
Oh.
She thinks that the LGBTQ is demon possessed. So there's a lot of story with that. She doesn't think they're going to go to heaven and all this stuff. So if she found out that I was different, she would be doing all sorts of shit to me right now.
Yeah, my mother threw me out at 14 when she finally asked me the question why I wasn't going to church. I'm like, I don't buy it. and then of course, because I was left it so vague, she asked me to explain, which I should have shut my mouth and went to church. But I did not. I explained to her that, my innate morality did not line up with that. I was too moral for the book. And then I had to explain to her that, and she had, I was going to again ask me why. So it just came out that, I had a boyfriend at the time.
See, I moved back in with my mom when I was 23, and my mom threw me out because I wouldn't go to church.
I wouldn't go to church. My mom didn't care.
I was helping her and everything, and she threw me out. I ended up going back to my ex-husband for about 2 months, and then I lived on the streets, and all she had to do was look at me and say, well, I'm sorry you had to experience that, and if I'd known, I would have sent you to Christian counseling. Yeah. And I'm like, you do not understand. He threatened to kill me. He said he was going to kill me and do all this stuff, which I'm not going to say right now because that would definitely not be a good thing. But anyways, he threatened all this stuff, and I just blatantly told her. I even censored it for her because I knew her little Christian brain was not going to be able to take it.
Yeah, I had to go through high school. I lived in a tent in the woods, so.
Holy fuck.
It wasn't easy.
Damn.
Dude, that would never happen.
Yeah, we had it pretty easy, May, haven't we?
Yeah. Like
I'm a privileged trans person.
Oh, I'm totally am. Yeah.
Like, one thing I didn't mention, living with my mother again, I was actually sleeping on a very thin blanket on the floor. And I was going to work at the same job she was working at, and she was trying to get me actively fired.
Ugh.
She was actually going around trying to get me fired.
If she wanted to control you.
Yeah. Honestly, your mom can fuck off and stay fucked off.
Oh, she plays this innocent act. She acts like she is the most innocent person. I made a YouTube video. It is sitting in my YouTube channel of me just fucking going off, snot and tears, telling my mother off, and even calling her a bitch twice. I haven't posted it because I've never cried in front of anyone before. So that's a very hard video to put out there.
Well,
my mom does not act innocent at all.
I'm old enough. I would have been proud to call you my son.
I would have been happy if you were my mother, so I've adopted you.
Yeah, my mother did not act innocent at all. She was I grew up in a very traditional Irish home, so we had a clan, and she was the head of the clan. That's all it was to it.
Okay. I see. Like,
most of my family that is involved in religion is Dutch. They did not become Amish, but they are pretty heavily religious. They act almost like the Amish with how closely connected in the internet we are. Like, we're connected down to our 15th cousins.
Yeah, sounds about right with me too.
And they will interfere. I've actually had a woman intervention after I left my ex-husband. I got called a sinner, got told to go back to him, and then they all got on a conference call and started talking to me. And I have a lot of women that want to get in your business.
Yeah.
But we are all sinners.
That's a woman thing. Yep. We are all. Wait, no. Galatians 3:23. I think it is. Never mind. Go look at that. We're not sinners.
The devil can speak the Bible as well.
Yeah. Well, let's put there in plain words.
Yeah, my biggest problem is that my mom is the biggest denier out there. She actually told me she did not call me a sinner and she would never do that.
Interesting.
And I'm over here scratching my head like, okay, you knew all this was going on. You have witnessed some of the abuse. You have been part of some of the abuse as a kid and growing up, and you're trying to deny it all because you're a pastor's wife, you're trying to look innocent. You have this completely fictional life you've created of ultra perfect. Like, she's always strove for perfection in her religion. She has pushed me to do the same thing. And I followed along, thinking that once I left her house and grown up and stuff, I could leave the religion. That turned out to be absolutely false.
Yeah, it apparently takes a lot to get out of shit like that. I've heard Aaron talk about that. Like, I don't know. The fucking states are crazy.
Yeah.
Well, according to Louisiana and Texas, I am excommunicated from a good majority of the Pentecostal churches. I'm a harlot, a whore, and insane, something like that, demon possessed, whatever. I really don't fucking care. I was in the more cult like sections of it, and they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, really. No, we don't like the church that not the specific congregation, but the overall denomination that my mom is a part of has a fucking atheist preacher. That's all I have to say about like the religion around here. I've posted it a few times. If you look at the video of my local pride, that's on my Bowen channel, like it goes a cop because it's required by law, and I think that guy's gay. And then a bunch of bikers, including some people on e-bikes. Whoa, fuck, which I think is just wrong. And then like 5 different churches from United Church are next. So like that is like, and then another church. I think they're Baptists. Weird. But they're Canadian. So like that is the state of 90% of the religion in my country. There are some extreme fundies. Like we have our extreme fundies. Like I don't know. Talk to I think Prophet Azad or Paul Enns from Pelagia. They'll tell you, or Armored. I don't know if Armored Skeptic was. I don't think he was actually part of one from Canada though, so never mind about him. But like we have our own fundies. They're just few and far between and have less than no power.
Yeah, the same down here.
Yeah,
I
well,
wonder why I'm a Canadian denialist. This is proof Canada doesn't exist. Too good to be true.
I think we're going to wind up soon, May.
We have Trump Jr. though.
Because you guys have got it real. It must be really late now. Well, it is really late. It's like 2 a.m. for you guys.
Is it?
11.
Meh. Oh, it is like 2 a.m.
I'm going to have to go soon anyway. I've got to get stuff organized. So.
Okay, well, we've probably gone on long enough. That's awesome. We did our wonderful after show, which was actually pretty good because, hey, we got a bunch of subs out of it.
And, I look forward to seeing you on Sunday if possible.
Definitely. We'd love to have you on the show.
How should I get in contact with you if that's the case?
On Twitter, I guess. I'm usually doing Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, you can send me a message on Twitter when that happens.
We'll send you a message.
Yeah.
A DM.
Yeah, if you want to look for me, my tag is OopsieB.
Yeah.
Just don't go sharing that Twitter account. I only use it for art. I don't want to get involved in any Twitter feuds.
Yeah, there's plenty of that already going on.
I avoid that.
Yeah, usually people don't bother with that unless someone jumps in. Oh no, I don't like tag. I've only ever tagged a random person once, and it was kind of a relevant person, and that's where I got Concordance to give me that one steady.
But yeah, if you do tag me, I'm just gonna post a bunch of dominatrix and muscle girl stuff. So
you're assuming I don't like that.
I would totally put a like on all of those
just to annoy him.
I'm pretty sure there was someone who was gonna like send me dick pics or something. So I actually accepted his message request and just, well, I hear crickets. So that's what I got back from him. I was gonna find out what he wanted, and if he wanted like vag pics, I was gonna send him a dick pic. But I don't know. So my Twitter profile picture is pretty femme. So yeah, there's that. All right.
I'm just a random bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, I take too much selfies, but hey, it'll be a good record in the future.
Yeah, I usually lurk around the corners and all this, debate stuff in areas. I mean, I'm around. I usually comment on YouTube because I'm a YouTube commenter. That's what I do. It's the lowest of the low, and I know it, and I'm proud of it.
I used to hang out in the chat with my Captain Griffin a lot. That's really where I first honestly came out. I think even before that one show, but
hence the Captain Griffin picture.
Yeah, well, that was my Halloween costume. That, like, I don't know what Kyle was doing with that. That was in October, and I started hormones in like January, so I wasn't even on hormones at that.
He did that to annoy you. You know that, mate.
I actually like that picture. Like, I look more femme in that because of the person who did my makeup than I do right now if I were to like shave and try. Okay.
That is one thing I never learned how to do.
I'm not very good at it.
I don't know why you don't.
Okay, now I'm gonna help you all do all of your makeup.
Hey, if you can give me like a little shadow and stuff, I'd totally go for it.
Yeah, you want some stubble, don't you, Oopsie?
Yeah, I do. I tried out that Snapchat filter, and that was the most amazing thing ever.
Well,
I'm weird. And then I tried the femme version, and it even made my skin look silkier than what it actually is.
Yeah, it did that to me too.
Like, I actually have pretty smooth skin. I don't have any blemishes, so that's a lot.
Mine came out really plastic.
That's what I kind of felt like mine was.
Those never seem to know what to do with me, so I get really, really odd results. Especially now, like I tried the Snapchat one, and it's like it added a beard back, and I'm like, okay, I've been there for like 20 years, no thanks. And the female one like added some makeup or some shit, I can't remember. Made my skin a little brighter. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, that's not far off from where I am. I just need the girl drugs to start growing things, so that I can get off the not boy drugs at some point.
A good way to fake a 5 o'clock shadow or a beard is subtlety. You don't need much to fake a beard.
Nope, I can't get rid of my shadow no matter what I do. I have to laser it off. Yeah. Okay, I could put like 5 layers of fucking orange NYX concealer on it.
I hardly ever wear makeup, to be honest. I've got a little bit on at the moment, but I really hardly ever wear it.
I almost never wear makeup.
I grew up extremely fundy, so makeup was a really foreign thing to me until a couple years ago. And I got a hold of makeup, and next thing you know, I'm doing all sorts of weird mustaches and stuff. Oh, it totally threw everyone else off around me because I was goofing off. And I'd be like, no, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for fun. Don't think anything weird of me because, still in the Christian cult, basically. And yeah.
Well, that was interesting. I do a lot of crossplay, so understanding the makeup thing and cross-dressing while you cosplay is kind of part of it. So,
I never cross-dressed, and I never started. like I never bothered until like I pretty much until last Halloween. So yeah, I'm
I did
weird.
as a kid.
I never
But
did.
I didn't.
I wasn't allowed to dress up, cosplay, or anything, so I don't really know how to. I do know that I tried to fake pack before, but my sister, she actually saved my butt one of these times. I was 7 years old, and she decided to cosplay into my brother's clothes, and she got her ass tore. Yeah, she got really beat up over it.
Damn,
Like,
that's
girls aren't supposed to pretend to be boys, and blah 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 blah. And so, like, since then, I've been ultra careful.
yeah. I wonder if I got paid.
I kind of wish I thought of wearing my brother's pants first, though.
Yeah.
That would have been so epic.
Yeah, I guess you weren't even allowed to wear women's pants.
Nope.
So
Skirts all the way down to the floor, shirts down to the elbow, 2 inches below the collarbone.
yeah.
Even that was pushing it.
I gotta show my thighs in a skirt, or I'm just not gonna wear one.
Oh, and on top of that, I had to wear multiple layers because the skirt would fall around my butt and into the cracks and stuff, and that was inappropriate.
Like
So I was usually wearing about 3 shirts, 4 skirts to hide my figure.
I'm wearing, like, I'm going to go to my thing tomorrow, and I'm probably going to wear this denim skirt I'm wearing right now. So yeah, there's that. I love this skirt. It's like a pair of jeans, but it's a skirt, and it has all the normal pockets that a pair of jeans would have, but it's a skirt. That's all I can say.
So the Canadians wearing the denim skirt jean thing.
I've kind of worn something pretty similar, so I get it. I've actually worn so many different types of skirts and dresses, it's ridiculous. Everyone thought that because I only wore the same clothes over and over and over again, that I actually needed clothes, and they would dump about 4 trash bags on me each month.
With like the same clothes in it all the time.
Oh my God, you have no idea how many times I've thrown that stuff in Goodwill, and sometimes it would end up right back in my house. Like, what the fuck? I just got rid of that. I didn't want it. Take it away.
Yeah.
There was one shirt I actually associated a panic attack with. And, it's like disassociating something onto an object. Well, I threw that shirt out, and my mom dug it out of the trash and started wearing it often.
What? Oh, come on.
I was like, what the fuck? And every time I would see that shirt, I would have a panic attack.
I mean, our version of the Goodwill is well, we have 2 of them here with either Value Village or Talese. And they send all the money to the Diabetes Association or whatever. But like, I just take the old stuff I don't want and trade it for girl clothes. Well, I get $5 off or 20% off at the other one. So I buy like, but you have to make a minimum $25 purchase. So I just like go and buy $25 of shit and basically I basically get the tax off. So.
Yeah, we actually had to scrounge money off the street in order to buy our own clothes because our parents wouldn't actually buy us clothes. The amount of times they actually bought us a outfit could have equaled Easter once a year. So my life was spent trying to pick up money as my parents were leading us in those little Walmart trains. Those stupid Walmart trains where they can't go anywhere without each other kind of things.
I don't think we have those here.
Oh, lucky. Basically, it's these large Pentecostal or Christian families that group together every time they go to the store. And the kids are not allowed to wander off anywhere, even if they're 18 or older.
Oh. Yeah, I've never encountered anything like that.
That would be the summary of my group outing. Other than that, it was home, homeschooling, and church.
Lovely.
I didn't even have friends, so that was also lovely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
that's.
I'm gonna love you all and leave you.
All right. Yeah, I should.
I actually made a lot
Probably.
of friends. It's probably getting late for everyone, isn't it?
Not for me, but it's getting later in the day for me. I haven't done anything, so I really need to
And
get
it's only
going.
11.
Yeah, I have to
My
go and.
phone's at 15%.
I have to go and get and get this shit lasered off my face at some point.
And you need some
So-
sleep.
I don't necessarily need sleep. I don't need to be conscious while I'm getting lasered, and maybe if I'm half asleep, it'll hurt less.
Sleep is for the weak.
Kind of
What
is.
sleep?
I rarely sleep now.
I like getting sleep when I can.
My child just woke up about 5-10 minutes ago when I went to check on her. So I'm going to be up all night again. And you will probably catch me on Twitter.
I shall.
Yeah.
I have so much research to do. I'll probably just hold her and start trimming the videos for my next project.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna read up, finish reading up on Emmy's article there, and then look at a couple of other things so that Shannon can really, we can really figure out what's literally going on and what the fuck is literally going on in my brain where I'm like fucking whatever I am, you know? Because I'm fucking weird.
That's what matters.
No truer words have ever been spoken. What the fuck is going on in my brain?
I think that's the question everyone has about themselves at some point in their life. I don't know enough about biology or the situation. I just know that you can't just exclude the brain from the biological side of things.
No.
Because there is so many components to human biology that to discount one, you're discounting a good bit.
And no one ever
it doesn't really sum you up.
Yeah. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Right. Well, before I guess we'll just wrap up. But I want to say one more thing. I want to make a prediction right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Shannon is either going to be extremely curious and is going to really pick my brain really heavily, or she's going to be like, oh, I get that. Okay, that makes sense. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's going to be one or the other.
It should be.
Well, she seems to know enough.
We can't figure out how to dual stream it for her, but
yeah.
Shannon kind of strikes me as the person that would know quite a bit about the psychological side of things, but she would probably ask questions for the sake of other people.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm picturing going to happen. I don't know enough facts to actually establish anything. I just have a good sense of things to understand, okay, that's not right. That sounds wrong. That needs to be looked into. We need to do something different here, kind of scenarios.
Well, I noticed that she does like to ask questions she knows the answers to.
Yeah.
Just there are sides of it.
But that's so that everyone can understand what we're talking about or what the scenario is.
Yeah, or just so that she can maybe get some clarification. But yeah, we are going on 3 hours and about 2 minutes here. Yeah. So we're probably going to have to wrap this up. I mean, I can lose a couple of hours of sleep. All I have to do is hobble over to the bus, but other people do. So
before I go, what time is this Shannon thing going to be?
8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, so yeah, it's going to be about 5 for me.
Yeah. Okay. So we're running on 5. You guys are running on 8.
Yeah, and we're both running on 8, just opposite 8s.
Yeah.
one 8 is upside down.
Ridiculous time frame right there.
Yeah, at least it's not like 7 or 9 hours or some bullshit like that where we actually have to stop and think.
It's like the difficulty we're going to have when we do the show with Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel, and we have I have Atheist T Girl who wants to come in on that too, and she's going to be really good for that because she's dealing with the whatever the Baptist bullshit is, and hopefully we can get Upsy in on that too because
Hey, if I have to carry my child around while chatting, I will make the attempt. I just won't be able to guarantee she can't pull my earphones out.
Yeah, well, that one's going to be all about like how hate groups form in other groups, basically.
Which I actually am very familiar with because I grew up around stuff like that. So it is a topic I am pretty well versed in.
Yeah, that's why I asked you if you would be able to make that one, but we don't have a time frame for that, and we're going to have every time zone in the fucking planet.
Yeah, and I'm also working around my boyfriend's time frame as well.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, like, so one is 5 hours behind, one is 12 hours ahead, and I don't know, you're what, 2 or 3 hours difference or whatever. I don't understand time zones.
I think it's about 2 hours for Central and then 3 hours for Eastern.
Yeah, like I don't know time zones, and I literally live in the city where the guy who invented time zones lived. I don't think he invented time zones when he lived here, but yes, Sir Sanford Fleming actually lived in Peterborough for quite some time. But yeah, all right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Anyone have any last words or anything like that?
Not that I could think of.
I second that. I'll second and forward that message.
Yeah, so our next show is Sunday night at 8 Eastern. I don't know what it is in your local time if you're not in Eastern, because I don't do time zones like I just said. And yeah, do all the liking and subscribing and commenting and all that sort of stuff down below. And yeah, we'll see you on our next show.
Bye.
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 Have a good one.